Hey everybody, it's me Amanda with Once in a Wild, and welcome back to another Once in a Wild Wednesday, where we bring the zoo to you each and every Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time here in San Antonio, Texas. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, welcome back to Wednesday. We bring the zoo to you virtually. We can also bring the zoo to you in person if you happen to be in the San Antonio, Texas, or surrounding cities, Austin, all those cities around us area. You can have animals visit your birthday party, classroom, nursing home, anything at all that would make your life better with animals involved. And it's a lot of fun. So that's the best way to help us out, is by booking your own animal encounter, virtual or in person. But you can also help us out and help feed our animals, take care of them, pay our staff, all those good things that you have to do with the company, right? By donating as well. And we do have a couple of options right down below, Venmo and Cash App. And also at onceinawild.com, you can donate to our Amazon wish list. We still have one of those. And people can actually select the items that we've pre-selected for our animals, and you can just send them right over to our location. That's a lot of help. And if you need anything at all, our number and website are down below for you. So just let me know. But today I have another special guest. If you've been watching our show each and every Wednesday, you would have seen more special guests. And please go back and watch those shows. And another free way to help us out is by subscribing to YouTube and following us on Facebook, as well as all of our social media links down below. Whew, I'm running out of breath. So why don't you guys take over for a little bit? I have two special guests today. It's usually just one, but we've managed to fit two people in the studio today. So who are you? What are you doing here? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks
Tell
for having
everyone
us.
about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Nina Duran.
I'm Samantha Najera.
And we are co-creators of Bean and Chisme, or the Bean and Chisme show, I should say. The Bean and Chisme
exciting.
show.
So tell everybody what that is.
So it started off with just she and I acting super crazy. We're just two Latinas locas. And we just say all the things out loud that you never thought you would hear somebody say out loud. And then we do sketch comedy. And so now we have a lot of other people besides ourselves that we're in a collective, and we do sketch comedy, all focused with a Latino audience.
Super cool. I didn't realize there was more involved than just you guys.
Oh yeah, that was. Haven't come out with it all yet.
We
but...
did. Yeah, that was something that we've been wanting to do, because for the past 4 years now, the majority of everything has been Sam and Nina, right?
Oh, I see.
The frijolita and chismosa. And so being able to work with other comedians and other artists, it's inspiring, because all of them are funnier than me, and so getting to work with them has just been great. But that was always one thing that we wanted to do. What we wanted to do with Bean and Chisme was cultivate other talent, right? Work with other comedians and do fun things with them. So people are going to start seeing a lot more of that.
So exciting. I'd love to check more out. I only watched a little bit. That way I could learn about you guys organically today and just kind of get to know each other. We've never met before, so you're seeing for the first time us meeting, which is so exciting. But thank you for being here again. So tell me, what inspired you to begin this whole journey in the beginning? Are you guys from the San Antonio, Texas area?
Yeah, we're both from San Antonio. Okay. We both have a background in media and marketing. And so I have a company called Heartfire Media, and I was dabbling in live streaming just like you are.
Oh, very good.
4 years ago. And 4 years ago, I was like, hey, there's this really cool thing on Facebook where you hit the button and it goes live.
Yes. And you're ahead of the game.
Well, kind of, sort of. But yours is fancy. I like this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice. But
much appreciated.
I invited
Ricky.
Nina. Yeah. Thank you, Ricky. Good move. And so Nina was also, we brought Nina into the picture, and so we just started as two chicks just talking on Facebook Live, and then it turned into comedy.
Yeah. So first it was just talking.
It was just talking, but of course it had an entertainment value to it, because our personalities are just wild. Well, we're not as once in a while wild.
It's a different kind of wild.
Yeah. And so
you fit right in.
Exactly. And then it turned into sketch comedy.
Yeah. It was really interesting how it evolved, because Sam and I, we known each other in the industry. My parents owned a bilingual newspaper called La Prensa. And so
I'm familiar. Yep.
Yeah. So Heartfire Media did videos for our foundation.
Crazy.
And then fast forward a couple years later, I was working somewhere and I was completely unhappy. We'll just say that. And I ran into Sam, and we had lunch, and we just, I don't know why, we just hit it off. And she was looking to grow Heartfire Media at the time. I was looking to make a change. Fast forward a few years later, Bean and Chisme was born. And it was funny because people would always come to our office and they would tell us all the time, like, oh my God, if there's only a fly on the wall, if there's only cameras, to capture the stuff that comes
we
out of
say.
y'all, out of y'all's mouths. And so we decided, let's do it. And like Sam said, it started off and it was just supposed to be a show that was live every other Wednesday on Facebook.
Also a Wednesday show.
Yeah, I know.
Yay.
Also something about Wednesdays.
Bean and Chisme Wednesday.
Exactly. And then 6 months later, that's when the Hood Rat characters were born, when Little Frijolita and Little Chismosa were born, and Little Frijolita. And so, and
that's
that,
you. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so
That's
that,
right.
In case I forget, it's right there.
Exactly. And that took on a whole other life of its own, because what we noticed is that, especially within our culture, people just gravitated towards these characters. I think because they were just non-threatening, willing to have these open conversations.
Relatable.
Relatable.
Yeah,
But they were like, I know her. That's my cousin. That's my neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
I went
We
to
all
high
know
school with
one.
her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
several.
Or you are
Several.
one. Or you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
One.
me.
Guess what? It's you if you don't know one.
Chances are.
Look in that mirror.
Yeah.
Well, super cool. That's so exciting. So what else do I want to ask you today? I'm stumped now.
No, it's
so
okay.
so how long have you guys been doing that together then?
So we've been doing Bean and Chisme for 4 years. And so we launched October 2017. The Hood Rat characters were born the year after.
Okay.
And then it's Bean and Chisme has always kind of like evolved. Like
Oh,
shortly
yeah.
after that, we got into the merch game.
Yep.
So we actually have t-shirts for men and women. We have
Super
baseball
cool.
caps. We have a whole line of stickers, like all this other stuff. Because the one thing about Bean and Chisme that we wanted, that it's interesting when you're creative, but you also have that business side.
Yes.
So we needed to make sure that Bean and
Mhm.
Chisme operated as a business. Like while it's
Sure.
fun to do all this stuff, there's still all the back end that comes with it. You know, that
it's
presents
a full-time
challenge.
thing.
Yeah,
It
no one,
is.
no one
It
ever
really
follows their
is.
passion to do HR. You know, it just
Yeah.
it comes with the territory. It's, I have to file taxes now. Like,
Yeah,
what are you talking
Oh,
about? I just want
boy.
to have fun and be on camera.
Yeah, trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of people think it's just fun and games, and it is. That's part of it. I mean, and I'm having fun, but I never stop working either as a business
Yeah.
owner, as you guys know. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you have to do, back-end stuff, even like running your own website. It's like, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Speaking
just
of
learn, right? You just
Yes.
learn
All kinds of
and like
stuff.
you go for it. So,
Absolutely. So, and you can do it. Like, don't be afraid out there if
Right.
you're wanting to do that. Just know that your life is going to be bonkers a little bit
Yeah, it's gonna
until
be
you
crazy.
figure it all out, and it
Yeah.
may never get figured out. But that's
It's a
okay. too.
sacrifice, but it's worth it.
Yes,
Totally.
it's so
It is
worth
worth
it.
it.
It's so worth it.
So
Follow
I have
your dreams.
to, I have to
Yes.
ask, and I don't know if you remember. Sorry to put you on the
No,
spot.
you're
What
good.
was the one thing you looked up or saw on Bean and Chisme?
I don't remember. I did it
I was
like,
like, let me ask.
as soon as
I know.
You know what's funny is as soon as I realized it was 2 of you guys coming on, I was like, oh, there's 2 people. I thought it was just one of you guys coming,
Oh,
or
That's hilarious.
because I wasn't very familiar. But Ricky was familiar. He was like, you should look up some of their TikToks. I'm all over TikTok all the
Oh, there you
time.
go.
Love TikTok, and I just
see,
kind of did a
okay.
few. I don't remember.
Okay, no,
But
that's
it was
good.
funny.
I was just curious. I was just curious as to what you
It
saw.
was super funny.
Yeah.
No, I'll watch more afterwards. I promise.
Oh,
I just
okay.
didn't want to
Thank
be.
you.
Yeah.
No.
So, what are some of y'all's favorites that you've done?
Oh
Do
man,
you have any?
There's so many. I mean, there's a ton.
Where do you
With
start?
the Hood Rats. Yeah, the
Wow.
Hood Rats have, like mine with the Hood Rats is the I Love Lucy.
Oh yes, I did see that.
remake.
I
That
saw
was a
that.
great
Chocolate
one.
Factory.
I did see that.
That
I
one's
think
my
it just
favorite.
popped up.
If you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, Bean and Chisme.
Love
dot-
it.
wait,
Maybe that's on
youtube.com
YouTube. I think it was on
/Bean
YouTube.
and
I saw
Chisme.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Type
was
in I Love Lucy, you'll find it.
that was a super fun one. And I also, I don't know why, and it was one of our smaller ones that we did, but it was still just something about it was fun because I think there's more there. Was the the Real Hood Rats of San Antonio. So it was the idea of like the Real Housewives.
It's a spoof on the
okay.
But
Housewives.
we did a parody, but the way it worked out is we literally shot it as like a trailer, as like this was going to be a show that came out but never came out. And so many people
It's
were
like-
like, I would watch that show
Yeah,
if it
yep.
came out. And so that always
Man, we still need to
sticks
do
with
it.
me. I know that always
Yeah,
sticks
go
with me
for
as
it.
We
something.
need to do a couple episodes.
Yes, that's something that we need to do just because it was a ton of fun. And again,
Mhm.
something that's relatable. We had every single little character, the one that just got out of jail, the pregnant one, you know, the whole group. And there was something to that shoot that was super fun that we did.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Before we forget, Ricky's asking, how can we find your businesses? So if you
Yes.
want to type in right here, actually, I'll just
Oh,
slide this on over.
Sure.
You're going to know it a lot better than me. So wherever people can find you.
I'm gonna can I put our Facebook only
Wherever you
because our website's gonna be down for a couple of days.
Speaking of websites.
Like literally today we
But it's
gave
for
the
a
go
good
ahead. It's for a
Whatever
very
you like.
good
You can type
reason.
in multiple things if you
Let's
want,
see, I'll
but we want to make sure
Instagram.com
everybody knows where to find you guys because that's the whole point of this.
Bean Chisme.
Who's
Right?
And
Carl.
just hit enter and then I'll share
I
it.
love and super grateful for all of
Oh.
you cabronas.
I love it.
There's some
Thank you for
fans
giving
maybe.
me life.
So there's that, and I'm going to share this really quick. So there's the facebook.com/Bean-Chisme. Super simple. So we can share it there, but let's address this question or comment.
Yes.
Read it again for everybody.
I love and am super grateful for all you cabronas. Which is like, how do you say cabronas?
Cabrona, like your, what's the PG word for cabrona?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Like a main bee, maybe.
Yeah,
sure.
And kind of like hard-headed, but like in a good way.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for giving life to your inspiration.
Aww.
You know,
so
it's
nice.
so great.
Thanks, Carl.
It's so great to hear that too. Thanks, Carl, because oftentimes a lot of people, when they see what we do, they think we're making fun of our culture.
Right. I do want to discuss that a little bit too.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
and that's one thing that, like, Sam and I, we've never seen it as poking fun. If we see it as we're embracing our culture, like it's who we are. Like, yes, some of the things we do are stereotypical, but again, there's a reason why it's a stereotype, and we don't do anything to poke fun. It's literally to entertain, to educate, to embrace, just who we are.
Yeah. And it's really funny because we have a new characters out called Los Tios, which is
tell me about that.
They're amazing.
And I play man
with
my friend Chona E. She's a local comedian as well. And
super funny.
Again, we're not making fun of our uncles. We think they're hilarious, so we mimic what we see, and it's so funny because it's relatable. Like, oh, that's my uncle. Like, and people are like, how do you do that? I'm like, it's easy. I remember their mannerisms and the funny things they say and the silly things that like are important to them. That you're just like,
you want to give everybody an example?
Yeah, of Los Tios, like
sure, or anything
what's
really.
A good example of Los Tios?
Well, when
money, when they give you money.
Yeah, like go give me a beer, mija. Go get me a beer. Here's $2. Yeah, you're real pretty. You make good grades. You make good grades. Okay, here's $100. That, and then we would make like a bunch of money off of our deals. So that's just one example of us embracing our culture. And it's either it's comedy to you or it's not, and we understand that. So there's a lot of comedy out there that I don't understand. Right. Where I'm like, man, these dudes are doing amazing. I don't get it, but that's cool. Good for you.
Someone gets it.
Yeah, not for me. Cool.
So you guys have any inspirations besides your real lives that inspire you to do more like certain types of comedy, or which comedians you really like and you want to?
Oh man,
not necessarily mimic, but like take inspiration from.
Well, yeah, we want to be the next like Latino in living color.
Okay,
like an SNL
like
style
an SNL.
version.
Yeah, love
sketch
that.
Comedy. It's live.
With a lot of variety.
Yes,
lots of variety of entertainment because we really believe that comedy doesn't just have to be stand up. It can be
of course.
It can be TikToks.
Yes.
It can be sketches. It can be short films, little movies. Like we have all kinds of ideas that they're just spinning that we're really excited about. So we hope that through our just starting our Bean and Chisme that it evolves into that. But we can't do it without your support.
No, please support them. So what's the best way people can support you? Besides following you on all
Can
things?
you pay all my bills?
Right. Yeah, give me the money.
Can we drop our PayPal and
can I like stop working like my real job so I can do this full time and I can inspire you with lots and lots of videos?
Exactly.
See, it's a win-win.
I know.
I make you laugh. You pay my bills.
Super simple.
There we go. I think, just subscribing.
Yes.
Subscribing and sharing and telling somebody about us is the best thing you could do for us.
Absolutely. Following us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We have presence everywhere. So like Sam said, just to follow, subscribe. Yeah.
Same thing with Once in a While. It's a free way you can help us out as well.
Yes.
And we definitely rely on you guys as well. We have that in common as well. Like the public is basically paying our bills. And not just that, but like, supporting us and, in our hearts and everything like that
Definitely.
too. Without them, we wouldn't have anything.
Right,
exactly.
right. So, yeah. Supporters are everything. The audience, the viewers, like they're why we exist. We're so thankful that we've been able to grow our little baby over these years, and just the support that we have. It's one of those things where it makes us feel like just super blessed, really happy to have that. So
yeah, and I was thinking bean and cheese. I was thinking tacos.
Yes. When you say tacos, I'm hungry.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where the idea came from. When we finally knew we wanted to do a show, Sam, we're in the office, and she's like, it has to be. We wanted a name that was like a Cheech and Chong, or what do we say, Gordo y
Like it had to be a duo.
And I was looking up.
That was memorable.
I was on my phone on Pinterest or something, and I was looking up like unique pairs or different pairs, and I saw the bean and cheese taco and something.
She just said it out
I don't know what happened.
And it was the way you said it.
Yeah, it just
as
happened.
if a light bulb.
It was just like it just happened.
Like bean and cheese, no, we were like,
It's like, you know, we heard it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We heard it. Like, that's all we needed to know. Like, this is the name.
And it wasn't taken. Yay!
Thank God. Thank God.
Once in a while wasn't taken either.
What?
I know.
Amazing.
And
That's
one,
a great
we had like a
name.
few little ideas, and we worked with a couple of creatives to kind of come up with the ideas, Ricky and Carlos and me. And then, you know, we're like, once in a while, I really like that. It has a really good ring to
Oh,
it.
it's
It's easy
great.
to remember. And then onceinaWhile.com isn't taken. What?
It's like the
Right.
best thing, right?
I
When
know.
you find, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yay, first try.
It's a sign that it's yours. Get it.
Exactly.
Well, if I think of any more questions, I will certainly ask you
Yeah,
guys.
please
But
do.
did you guys have
We
any
wanna
questions
learn about
for
you.
me?
I
Yes.
know.
Tell me everything, girl.
So
Tell
they
me
were
everything.
actually asking me questions off the air, and I was like, no.
Just wait. Just wait.
Save it.
Save everything.
So tell us how. You said you've been working with animals forever. How?
Yeah, I've been working with animals professionally for 21 years. Can you believe it?
It's crazy.
Maybe
So-
that's why I know you.
Maybe.
Maybe I met
And I
you
am from
somewhere.
San Antonio.
Okay.
So I started out working with horses and pet sitting. That was the first thing I did for a little bit of income as like a late teenager, you know, junior and senior in high school. I would want to get out of my house. So I would go house sit for like rich people, just saying,
Okay.
Yeah.
that have horses.
Okay.
And they also needed somebody that knew
Rich
how
people
to
problems. We've talked
rich
about
people
yes, we
problems.
have.
They have
Anything with
horses. They got to go out of
horses. Right.
town.
What's that like? Let us know.
I know. Please explain because I don't know either.
Just got a
I never
horse.
got to have my own horses, but I rode horses since I was like maybe 12 and on, and really loved horses and horse training. And that was kind of how I got into the animal field professionally, because I would make money off of helping people train or taking care of their horses, etc. at the barn that I went to, and also meeting people that have the money. And they're like, hey, we're going out of town for, you know, the whole month of December, but we need somebody to like stay at the house, take care of the horses, make sure nothing happens, you know, get the mail, whatever. And I came with a lot of good references, so they would trust little 17-year-old me to watch all of their house and all of their animals. And I got to kind of live there for a month, which was fun. And in December, I would get like Christmas bonuses from these people. This was like in the Dominion.
We are in the wrong.
I know. So we need to
Yeah.
start pet sitting.
And,
Yeah,
but
we're
now I
allowed to
can't leave the
hire
house
us.
because we have all the animals taken
Now
care of
you're
here.
the one.
So now I'm the one that needs the anyway. The times have changed. The role reversal. But anyway, so that's how I started kind of like professionally earning money with animal stuff. But I didn't have a degree yet, and I actually went to school for photography and fine arts first.
Wow.
So
Random.
totally different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm gonna be like a National Geographic photographer when I grow up, right? But that's really hard to do unless you like know somebody, and it's really
okay.
hard to make money at all with that kind of job.
Mm.
So I was like, well, not really what I expected. I didn't really want to be taking like wedding photos and little baby photos for a living. It just wasn't really
You
what
still
I,
wanted to work
what I
with
imagined.
animals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to something with nature, something with animal. So for a while I worked at pet stores. I worked at
worked at PetSmart.
veterinary clinics. I never worked for PetSmart,
Close as I
Petco.
got.
I worked for Petland, and I worked
Okay.
for a couple other like mom and pop shops. And then I went on to be like a veterinary technician for a while. Still wasn't really what I wanted to do because I want animals to like me.
Yeah, right.
And when you're holding them for shots and stuff like that, it doesn't really. It's just not what I want to
Yeah.
do. No
Did
hate
it break
to
your heart
the-
though? Did it break your heart, or were you
it's
like,
just
I
a
can't do
lot
it?
of stress.
I bet.
It doesn't. I mean, it does break your heart sometimes
Well, you're like,
because a lot of animals come in and it's not pretty. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's depending on which owners want to take care of
I couldn't do that.
the bills, they can't afford to
Yeah.
save the animal,
So
etc.
expensive.
There's a lot of things. Veterinarians they have a lot of stress. So anyway, so that wasn't really for me, and I was like, I kind of gave up for a little bit, but then I went back to school for zoology, and I started. I actually worked at SeaWorld for a while, and I started working at and volunteering at zoos, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to work with zoo animals, exotic animals,
Okay.
because it was a totally different vibe. It's not somebody's poodle,
Okay.
no offense to poodles,
No offense to the
and
poodles out
dogs
there.
in general out there, but it's not your animal, so you're not,
Right.
making the decision on whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision.
Mhm.
It's ultimately their choice. So that's a big
Yeah.
part of it too. It's very complicated, just like any job, and it's very, like I said, stressful, not the right kind of stress. So once I got into the exotic animal field, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to help with conservation. I want to teach people about all these creepy crawly animals that they don't like, and maybe, get them to fall in love with some of the animals that I like snakes. I forgot. But anyway, I think we got hacked here down below, just so you guys know.
Okay, I will go.
Yeah, that ain't normal. Ignore. We'll delete
so
those later.
It's because there's 3 girls on today. That's why.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Not us.
That's so
Did
funny.
you guys tell somebody
Right?
to do that? Oh my gosh.
I mean, it is our demographic.
Bean and Chisme.
They found
This
us.
is a family channel. Oh, hello, Clay. Clay is one of my very good friends. Poodle Power.
Power.
Do you have a poodle? I don't think you do. But anyway,
Poodle Power.
but it just wasn't for me, and so I just, like I said, kind of tried different things, and then I went back to school for zoology, and now I have 2 degrees. And when I went to school, I went to school all the way in Florida, and when I got back to Texas, which is where my home is, right, in San Antonio, Texas, I actually started working in Corpus first. Love Corpus, but I didn't end up staying there because the job was just a temp job. So I ended up getting a job at San Antonio Zoo after that. So the Texas State Aquarium is where I worked in Corpus. And then over at San Antonio Zoo for a while, working with lots of large mammals and different animals over there. And then where did I work after that? Dallas Zoo after that. And
so you did quite
long
a bit
story short, now we own our own zoo.
Right?
So what I
Yes,
want to know,
I've had a lot of jobs.
how many animals do you currently
Ooh.
have? Is
Own?
that the, or is
Own,
it
or what do you
have
call
the
it?
right word? Or
Sure,
own,
that we have here in our
Yeah.
collection. That's fine.
because there were a lot.
There's a lot
Walking
of choices.
I'm looking at some right
I know.
now.
I can't wait to meet these
Yes.
guys.
We have
but
3 today, as usual. So those of you that watch the show a lot, you'll know that we are going to bring animals onto the show. I should have mentioned that at the beginning.
Yay.
But anyway,
Not us.
Right?
Besides us.
So
Other than
besides the
us.
humans,
Yeah.
primarily primates right now.
There you go.
Right here on the screen is just 3 primates. But anyway, so the real answer is I don't know how many,
Really?
because some of the animals that we brought today have a lot of children.
Where? Where are the children?
Like they're here.
They're somewhere in the house.
So if you had to estimate how many
They're not in this room.
animals.
Around 100.
Holy
That's
That does
moly.
include creepy crawlies like bugs and spiders
Still,
and things like
that's
that. So they're
crazy.
smaller, but yeah,
Because
there are a lot.
100 and there's only 3 are dogs, right?
Yes,
The
the dogs
3
don't
dogs
count.
are like, all right.
I know.
We're the minority
3
here.
out
The
of
dogs don't
that.
count in that.
They don't
100.
even count in the
103
100.
Dalmatians.
That's
Aw.
crazy.
Okay.
Do you have a
question.
favorite?
I don't really have a favorite. That's like picking
Animal?
your favorite kid.
Oh,
but,
okay.
as far as animals, like if I could
How
only
dare
work
you.
with
I know,
one,
right?
yeah,
How dare you ask for
it's my child.
Yeah, these are my children.
Yes and
I
no,
think
but
about it that way.
if I could work with like one type of animal for the rest of my life and nothing else, would be snakes. Snakes are one of my favorites.
Really?
Is
Who
that
says
surprising?
snakes? It
It's
is.
very surprising
Mhm.
Yeah.
because
Snakes are very easy and well behaved. Oh yeah, no noise.
That's crazy.
They only poop once a week. They only eat once a week. Maybe twice a month.
Kind of
Do
like a bearded
snakes-
dragon.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
I
you're
like-
familiar with
Beard is so
them.
easy.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
emotionally needy. Okay. And therefore, like I have 2 dachshunds, 2 mini wiener dogs, miniature, and I need to feel them.
I didn't peg you for a dachshund person. I don't know why.
Oh,
What?
she's
What,
got
okay,
good
what am I?
eyes.
Tell me. What's my sign? Here, read my palm.
Right?
Mm,
What kind of
What's
animal? What's my spirit animal?
I have to think about that. I just got to know
Okay.
you. I just met
So
you.
the reason that I need like their warmth, like I smother the crap out of them.
Okay.
Like if I'm depressed,
Just a
one's
bite.
here, one's here, and I'm watching a movie.
Oh,
Like
okay,
I gotta have
okay.
the smell and
comfort.
like the
Yeah,
warmth
yeah,
and the fuzz, the fuzziness.
Aw.
Like that's what gets me.
Mhm.
So where do you get out of the snake?
I think snakes are some of the most beautiful animals on the
Yes.
They
planet.
just
They
look
have
really
so many
pretty.
different colors.
are
There's so
beautiful.
much
Do they
variety. They're
communicate?
very misunderstood.
Do they communicate though? I
They're
need
kind
to-
of a solitary animal, so they do
Okay.
communicate, but not like a dog or a cat. So they are going to be more. They don't hear, so there's no sounds except for
Snakes don't hear?
except for hissing and rattlesnakes making noises. There's really not any
What?
noises that they make if you think about it. They don't have ears, so they have internal ears, but nothing.
So they feel
nothing on the
vibration.
surface.
So it's all about the
They
flow of
feel.
things. They
It's like a
feel.
feeling. But
Snakes.
they're very simple animals. I don't mean dumb. I mean like streamlined. Number one, no legs, right? So they can't scratch you. It's great.
But they
And
can bite you.
They
They
choke
can,
it.
but they
You know,
almost
what
never
are
do.
you?
Right? They can.
They almost never do bite you though.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and their teeth, for a non-venomous snake, of course, are pretty benign. They're kind of more like Velcro.
Have you been bit by a snake
Absolutely,
before?
many times.
What does it feel like?
Many times.
It kind of feels like Velcro, a little
like a
sharper.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of sticks to you, and then it's like
That's
what's
how cats
happened?
feel. Their
A
tongues.
little bit,
like
yeah,
cat tongues are like
yeah,
kind of
kind of like a
Velcro-y.
tongue, kind of like a cat tongue that's like dry, I guess.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like not super bad. It's more startling than anything,
Mm.
and for like a tiny snake, it's very, very
It's probably scarier for the snake, though.
Right, of
we're so much
course.
bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Of course.
like
They're
like,
terrifying.
hoping this works.
Can you imagine being this giant like monster
No,
and
I
you're just like,
know.
why? Like this little, even if it's a big snake, you're short.
Yeah.
Not very tall,
It's
are
just
they?
trying to do its thing.
Yeah.
So
And they're very misunderstood. A lot of people don't like them. I
Oh.
think they're one of the most hated and persecuted animals on the planet. And
Or
it's
a
really
snake.
not fair because very few snakes ever kill a person, if any. And a lot more like dogs and cows and horses kill more people because they're around us a lot.
Yeah, they have
just
more
by default.
interaction.
Like you said, they're misunderstood.
Yeah.
Right.
The snake
Well,
is
plus
misunderstood.
the world paints them in all the bad movies as
True,
the,
that
the
too.
vic- the,
Mhm.
the what am I
It's
trying to
literally the
say?
villain.
The villain.
Yeah.
Say the victim.
I was gonna say the venom.
The venom.
Speaking of, Venom is in theaters. Venom
Yes, it is.
Not sponsored.
I haven't seen it yet. Not a sponsor.
So I have a really dumb question, but
Okay.
it's not really dumb. But
I
really,
can't wait.
Really, really
I can't.
ask you. What did you think of the Tiger King?
Oh, great question. I watched it several
Oh.
times and I really
Okay.
actually am glad that they publicized some of that because it's really important for the average person that has no idea that exists.
Right.
I
didn't
to
know.
see
Me
that.
neither. I
To
didn't
see
either.
that and compare and contrast like good places and bad places because they do exist. And I think it's very good that he is not doing that anymore and that he is no more.
Right. He's out of the game.
He's not a great person. And from what I hear from people that I trust that know him or know people that know him, that was just the surface of what was going on.
Wow.
If you can believe that.
You got some
I can't
inside
believe
cheese
it.
there.
So,
No,
yes.
you could tell right away that there was obviously
sure.
a lot wrong. Even though
Yes,
his
of course.
character is extremely likable.
Right.
Because
And
of his
entertaining.
charisma, he's
Yes,
very
very
entertaining.
Yeah, and you
but that
can't
didn't
stop
make him a nice-
watching.
Yes.
No, and but I mean, why get animals involved? Do something else. Be a comedian.
No.
Yeah.
Or he was trying to be a politician. I mean, but
Later
yeah,
on.
yeah, but yeah, poor animals. No, I understand that.
Exactly. So, and of course, not really the professional image we want to portray in the field as well.
Yeah.
Kind of breeding animals just willy-nilly, like, without any kind of regulation, just like for money, basically.
Wow,
so they were
crazy.
making money. You watched it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Several
So they're
times.
basically making money off of the cub photos, the tiger,
Take
the
a
tiger
picture.
cubs or the lion
Mm.
cubs or whatever animal. And before you know it, they're not holdable anymore because it's not safe for them to be touched and held by the public. So where do those animals go? They just go back into the collection and there's hundreds of them. And those animals, tigers are solitary. They don't like to live together. Did you see how many were together
So many.
in the pens?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
like 20.
Oh,
Like what is
yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
It's just way too. It's basically a hoarding situation.
Mm.
So all that is not normal, you guys.
Not
If you've ever
normal.
seen Tiger King, this is a family show. But if your parents have seen Tiger King, watch with discretion, right? But that's not normal. That's actually very extreme to like almost no zoo is like that. It's not even
So
a zoo.
crazy.
So are you
Yeah.
team
It's-
Carol Baskin?
Oh
Or
heck no.
Are you team Doc Antle? Like, are
None.
they all psycho?
They're all not-
crazy.
They're all not great.
Okay, got it.
For
Got
their
it.
own reasons.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah, because you could tell
Wow.
each character. I mean,
Yes.
they characterized them in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, they all got something going on.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say they all had their own like
Oh yeah.
their own
It's all
crazy
I
almost.
feel
In
like
my
Doc-
opinion, my
Yeah.
personal opinion, right?
I feel like Doc had the most
Professional opinion.
professional.
Mhm.
The place
Grip
is
on
very
it
nice
all.
because he has a lot of money and he, has made choices to kind of make everything really nice on the outside at least, but how he treats his employees, not great. Employees, the girls.
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of unfortunately the corrupt side of the animal field, but that's very rare. All of those places are all 3 or 4, 5 places that they showed. I think it was like 5 places that they actually showed, but 3 that they focus on, right? Doc Antle, Carol Baskin, and Tiger King. What's his name? Joe Exotic.
Joe
No,
Exotic.
how do we not know?
Let's forget about him. He needs to be forgotten.
I know, right?
All
Exactly.
3 very extreme versions of the bad side of the animal field. That's a
Wow.
great question. Why do you ask that?
I'll be back and asking you about season 2.
I was going
There's
to
a
say,
season 2?
Season 2 is coming out November.
what are they even
13th.
going to show?
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I have no idea.
How are they going to convince these
That's
people to be filmed again?
Maybe they're going to talk
It's all
about
Carol.
maybe in
There's,
jail,
like,
maybe his
extra
in jail
footage?
situation.
Maybe.
The jail situation.
Maybe.
Court.
There was some kind of rumor that he wasn't alive anymore, and then that was not real. I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Like, is it? No, it wasn't. Okay. It's like when celebrities like die, and it's
But
like,
they didn't.
let's
It's
Google
like a
this. No, it's
hoax.
not.
It's
Yeah.
like, wait a second,
Right.
did they really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So what else can we talk about? Any other questions for me? So that's partially why I started Once in a Wild. Actually, the main reason is to basically right the wrongs with animal misinformation, like with snakes and some other misunderstood animals that get a lot of prejudice, and to kind of, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, even with pets. People think that they know how to take care of their pets. But there's really not a whole lot of good, consistent information out there for people to learn, especially kids and their parents and things like that. And also, pets are not toys. So we encourage you guys never ever to impulse buy an animal without doing your research. And really, honestly, nobody, I'm sorry, not nobody, but not everybody should have a cat or a dog.
Right.
Or
Oh, yeah. There are times
people
yes.
don't need them.
No, I know personal people are like, give away your dog.
I know.
Yeah.
Give it to somebody.
Doesn't have a life.
Yeah. I'm like, no.
Exactly.
Last question, I promise.
No, keep asking questions. Great.
Do you communicate with animals? Like, are you a whisperer per se?
Like, this possum
where you're
feels
like,
sad today.
This kitty, she got a bad attitude. She got a bad attitude.
She got to go.
I mean, it's hard enough to communicate with your own species sometimes.
Right?
I feel like, with so many years of working with animals, you naturally start learning. I mean, these are their body language, their actual voice language.
So you're like a Dr. Dolittle?
A little bit. Not as much as people think. We're
Okay.
still, we can't speak their language exactly, but yes and no.
I'm sure you know way more than we do.
For sure.
You'll be like, yeah, don't
I'm
do
sure
that.
you do.
The possum is confused right now or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure I can interpret, at least have an educated guess about what the animals are doing and thinking and whatnot. But that's the part of the challenge, though, of working with animals in general, is we can't really read their minds. We can only educatedly. That's not a word. We can make an educated guess with what we know so far. But that's why it's important to always be learning and evolving with animal care and with animal knowledge and everything else. It's one of my favorite things about the job, because we're always learning something. So it's not the same every day. It's very different every single day, which can be stressful, but also fun. Definitely not an office job where you're just, you have like your little routine. It can be, I could have a new client or program tomorrow if somebody calls me and we're not booked. So that's another thing that's fun about
it. Just happens.
Yes.
It just pops
you
up.
gotta be on the call. I'm ready to go.
As much as I can. Although it's important to take breaks and schedule yourself a me day every now and then. Otherwise, you won't ever do that if you have your own business, as you guys know.
We've been there.
Yeah,
we've been there.
Like I said, I need a pet sitter for, no, just kidding.
No, we for 100 pets.
Well, we do have staff that takes care of our animals. I'm also one of them too that takes care of the animals. We have 2 other part-timers consistently, and I have a couple other part-timers as well.
I can't wait to
just so exciting. And we're gonna do a tour after this. After we're done with you guys on the air, we're gonna take Bean and Chisme around and maybe take some photos behind the scenes or videos. Whatever you guys
oh
do.
gosh,
I'm excited.
You're welcome to be around as long as you want.
So
let's see if anybody is asking questions down below besides our craziness over here. So Clay says, no, he doesn't have a poodle, but he has seen the movie Best in Show. Oh, okay. Poodle Power. That's a cute show.
Is it cute?
Yeah, or a cute movie,
It's a documentary, right? Or
it's a mockumentary. It's a comedy. You would like it.
Okay.
Especially if you like dogs. So you have a bearded dragon. Do you have any other pets?
I do have a bearded dragon, and I have 2 dogs, 2 rescues.
What kind of dogs?
Yeah, so they're both rescues. They're both 10 years old. One is a Great Dane Lab mix.
They're both 10 years old. They're the same.
They're no, they're like 9 months apart. So one was in July and one was in December.
I know.
I just adopted them like separately. And then my Sinatra, my little Frank Sinatra, he's kind of ugly, but he's so
that's okay.
cute, though.
Okay,
you know what I mean? You know when you look.
It's okay to be ugly.
I mean, I'll tell you the story. Like when I walked into PetSmart, I always told myself I was gonna have like another dog, and I walked into PetSmart and I literally saw him, and he was with a Dog for Life. I think it was the nonprofit, and you just see a dog, and I was like, this little guy, like, no, if I don't adopt him, no one's going to adopt him. And he's
only a mother could love, and you're the new mother.
He's just so sweet. He's the sweetest. He's my cuddle bug. So yeah, and then I've had my bearded dragon for about 9.
There's one over there. That's why she's pointing over there.
I've had and his name is
Little Debbie's over there. She was on the show a couple weeks ago. Little Debbie.
And so beardies are so easy. And how I got my bearded dragon is I have 2 boys, and they brought home hermit crabs. After killing 6 hermit crabs completely unintentionally.
Hermit crabs are difficult. Yep.
Oh my gosh, so hard. I went to PetSmart and I was like, look, I need something. I have 2 boys. I need something easy.
Something that's gonna live.
Low maintenance, something that's gonna live that's like not. And they're like a bearded dragon. So Eki He was like this big when I got
Oh
him. And
my
now
God,
you've
that's
seen
so
him.
cute.
He's
He's
a
in
big guy
he's in one of our videos, everybody.
He
So if you go to
is
the
Super
Bean and Chisme YouTube,
cool. Very
and
good.
he's
We have
the
2.
star of the Brujas video. that just came
Yes,
out.
he is.
They're
in our
so
Blue
great
House
for human interactions
Oh.
with lizards because they're so
I love
calm and they're
yeah,
very,
I love them.
very good at being, held and petted
He's-
by whoever.
He's the best.
yeah,
He loves
they don't matter.
carrots, crickets, worms. Like keeping him alive is like super easy. You can go on vacation and he's okay.
He's keeping him alive.
Keeping him
like a
alive.
kid,
that was
right?
the thing. I'm like, how I need something.
Yeah, that
easy.
makes
But
sense.
so sweet though.
But a lot of people have the assumption that certain pets will be good pets for kids, and they're just not. Like
Yeah.
hermit crabs, I
Oh.
think are fine, but
Yeah.
they're not going to live very
No,
long.
yeah, really hard. At least
or-
not San Antonio. Trying to keep that tank at 98% humidity.
That's true. It's dry here.
It's really difficult. That's why they
Mhm.
kept dying. I was like, I
Poor
can't do it.
babies.
I had sponges, everything, and nothing. I could not keep it.
But that's something to. I mean, that is a very valid point. Like,
Yeah.
always do your research. Make
Yes.
sure that the climate and your house and everything is suited for the animal
Mhm.
too. It's not about just you, right?
Yeah.
It's about the animal's little
That's
lives.
why after the 6th one, I was like, okay, if I like
Something's
buy
wrong.
anymore,
I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done.
like at that point, I become a hermit crab murderer. Like I can't do that.
Aw.
Can't do
Hey,
this.
I know you tried.
I know.
And then you as well. Do you have just the dogs?
Just
Nope.
that's enough.
Basic.
Well, if you know dachshunds, they're
That's enough.
needy.
Yeah, that's
Oh
enough.
my gosh,
Yes.
I can't even
Our
go to the
dogs are
bathroom.
funny.
Can't even go to the shower. If there's a thunderstorm, they're jumping in the shower with me.
Yeah.
They're there. Are you
They're
serious?
humans. They're humans hidden in dog uniforms. For real.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're needy.
And then
Too
what
much.
else are you guys talking about? I want to check in with you guys in the audience. If you have any questions or comments for us, make sure and let us know. What are some of you guys' favorite comedy movies? Speaking of
Oh my
movies,
gosh.
Anything out of
Tiger King
Sandler.
2 coming in. There's our
Oh,
favorite
there you
comedy. Thanks, Ricky.
Anything Adam Sandler.
Thanks, honey.
Aw.
I'm the animal whisperer to Ricky, I guess.
Ricardo.
You are. You have to be, I would imagine, to be in this field.
That's what he thinks anyway.
Yeah.
Like, are you one of those people when you walk outside and it's like, ah, and then like all the animals just like, there's Amanda, yeah.
I don't know. Let's go check. Let's go
let's go.
outside.
I wanna watch.
They're all gonna flock to her.
I do love birds. So
Oh, there you go.
Are you like, ah, and then they come and they like hang out as like a branch on your arm.
my birds do that.
You see?
Yeah.
So you're not
That's
giving
crazy.
yourself enough credit here.
Well, thank
Nada.
you.
I really think
Thanks very
something
much.
special going on here. Y'all didn't tell us.
Right.
Well, we'll find out later behind the scenes and in a little bit, right?
I know.
Can I
They're
pay
sleeping.
you to come to my house to look at my dogs and give him an exam and be like, this is why he bites people. This is so
No, because I'll
mean.
probably get bitten.
No, you will.
He's mean and
You
he's just
will.
ornery. Is that the word ornery?
Chiflado.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chiflado. And he's 14. They're both 14.
Oh,
but
let him be.
But the more older he gets, the more he's like, I don't even want you to touch me.
Yeah,
You're my
That's how
mom.
people are also.
Are you sure he's not like in aches and pains or anything like that? Because he might just be grumpy from being a little bit maybe arthritic. I mean, I know they have bad backs.
He's
They
been
do
he's
have
been
bad
grumpy for a
backs.
hot
Sometimes,
minute
but
though.
he's very
Is he-
active.
Is he
though.
chunky or
No,
is he
no.
He's petite and he's
Blasco.
super active.
Mhm.
Super active.
That's good.
Very
That's the
chiflado.
first thing you're doing right because most people let their dachshunds get too overweight and there's like
And they're on the
nowhere for
ground.
there's nowhere for their bodies to go because
Their
they're down.
tummy's just like
And then their back just sways like a horse.
Aw.
So that's really bad
Yeah.
for them. So you're doing that
Oh,
right.
But I would love for you to be like, this behavior is unacceptable, sir. And see,
Do you
like, if
really
he
want my
responds-
opinion? Ricky can
Yes.
tell you all about that later.
I bet you.
That's
I bet you're gonna tell me.
hilarious.
Everybody tells me it's because of you.
Oh yeah, it is.
you're the enabler.
Am I the enabler
Am
or is
I the
he-
drama?
Am
I
I
don't
the
think
drama
I'm the
or is
drama.
he like? Did I cause it or I'm enabling it or both?
Maybe. It's really so the reason I didn't a lot of people ask me this all the time, like, why didn't you just get into dog training? That's really lucrative. I'm like, yeah, I would have been, but I would have hated my life.
Okay.
Because you have to train the human, number one. And
Yeah.
I love people, but not that much.
Train
But
me.
and also I like a
A
variety
animal.
of animals. I appreciate that. But I like a variety of all different kinds of like zoological
Not just
animals,
one.
not just dogs. And you have to basically dedicate. I mean, it's so much, and I
Yeah.
feel a lot. So I would I would really want to dive into that one species, you know,
Yeah.
and do the best I can. Also, it's a lot of house calls. It's a lot of like trying to convince people to do the thing, and they don't want to do the thing, and then they don't do it, then you wasted all your
a lot
time.
of
and the dog's just
accountability.
gonna- that's a lot.
Following up.
That's a lot. It's like being a teacher or something,
Yeah.
or a tutor or a therapist for kids. Like if the
Mm.
parents don't follow up, then
Exactly.
you're kind of wasting your time. But dogs are easier than kids, I think. So
Probably.
Ricky doesn't think so. So Ricky actually, he has two kids. One is 23 and one is 14. Hi guys.
Wow.
Yeah, he does not look old
He
enough for
looks-
that.
23.
Right?
Yeah.
He is.
23 and 14.
He is. Me too. 21 year span of working with animals.
Yeah,
I started when I was 2.
There you go.
Right?
You're
But
a
anyway.
really smart 2-year-old.
Yeah, just like a prodigy
Yes.
at birth. But I was gonna say he has the little dog, the Schnauzer. So we have a
Okay.
Schnauzer and 2 Border Collies. And Border Collies are actually pretty difficult dogs if you don't know about dog training. They're super smart, and if you don't give them good direction and things to do, they will find something to do. And a lot of times they'll be chronic barkers, or they will tear up your house, or they just need a ton of exercise and they'll develop like spin behaviors and all kinds of negative things. But if you are familiar with dog training and you just give them good direction, they're great dogs. Because they're so intelligent, like a person.
They can
So,
pick up on.
The Schnauzer, he's
I
not
love
dumb, but he's not a Border Collie.
Uh-oh.
And most Schnauzers are kind of bratty. Like they're very like Napoleon.
Snooty, right?
syndrome.
Very like,
He's kind of goofy, so he's not really the typical like aggressive Schnauzer behavior. He's a good boy, but when I met
He's
him,
a good
oh my
boy.
gosh, he's a good boy.
He's a
Oliver
good
and Oliver, and then T-Bird and Elvis.
I love it.
But Oliver was Ricky's dog, and we met 7 years ago, and Oliver was only like not even a year old.
Aw.
So, and Ricky had no idea what he was doing. With the
So you
dog.
came at the right time to help
Yes,
Ricky.
and I knew.
You're like,
okay,
no, sir.
This is one reason I knew that me and Ricky were going to work out, because he was like, train the dog however you want, and I was like, because a lot of people are like, no, that's my baby. He's, we're going to keep him this way or whatever, and no, he was like, help me.
Yeah. Oh, that's me.
So that was great.
Just
So
you.
Ricky was very open to that, thank
Aw.
goodness, and now he gets to have 2 other dog brother and sister, and they get along great.
That's
Everybody's
awesome.
great.
Family.
But he's a good dog now.
I love it. I love it.
He's
What
got
do you
a good
think about
mom.
that, Ricky? You make sure and tell
He
us.
got a good mom.
He didn't have a mom when we met.
No,
Ricky was single, obviously.
You're a mama. You're a stepmom, but not really.
There you go.
Dog.
Mama.
Well, now
There
I
you
take
go.
care of him. So
There you go.
It's your dog.
who's the mom now?
Exactly, the real mom.
But that's the cool thing about animals, is they're not really gonna like. They're not like, oh, that's my dad and that's my mom.
Right.
They'll accept whoever. And
Yeah.
all of our dogs are very friendly. They're used to so many people coming over and we work from home, and
yeah.
they're just like people. Yay. I think they like strangers more than me.
They're like someone else.
But I guarantee it's probably you, because dogs all start. They're pretty much a blank
But
slate.
the other one is good.
That's good.
She's really my niece, but I adopted her. She stayed at my house, and I said I'm not giving her back.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they let me babysit her too long.
Yeah,
Too bad.
the
So
dog stayed.
sad. Sorry,
Interesting. Are
sister.
they both fixed?
They're both
Mhm.
fixed.
Okay,
They're
that's
elderly,
good.
Sleep together.
But Riley,
And they
she's
get along
so
fine,
good.
and they get along with you.
They love
Yeah.
each other.
Oh yeah.
So his main issue is what, like being aggressive to other people,
just people.
people coming over, territorial.
Very territorial. If
Mhm.
he doesn't, he's got give him like a good 5-10 minutes, and then he'll calm down.
Okay.
But never put your fingers in his
Mhm.
face.
Okay.
Never. And don't put your nose. Don't.
Nah.
He
And
And
doesn't
that's a
like
great
anybody-
lesson for you guys that are maybe thinking like every dog's gonna be nice. Like, don't do that.
He's never liked
That's how you get
anybody
it.
in his
Yeah.
face. He's just
Yeah.
Okay.
since he was born, he's just never been like, oh, no. And he's not loving. He's not like, oh. Now Riley is. She'll
Okay.
snuggle.
She's sweet. Yeah.
But why is he like here at night and here and here and in the shower with me? And I'm like, but you don't like me, so why are you like all up on
It
me
sounds
all
like
the
he
time?
thinks. It sounds like he thinks he's the boss.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
for
So that's probably the
Yeah.
like on the blanketed version of the program.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
we'll
should be
put
the
like a blanket on the floor for like us, and Frankie
Oh,
goes,
and he
like,
goes right
in
on
the
top of
middle,
it, like,
excuse me,
Yeah, he's
like
the
I'm
boss.
here.
Yeah.
He's the boss.
And you try to move him, and yeah, no.
And you move away when he growls.
No,
Okay, good.
I will. She will.
I
Yeah.
have gotten to the point where
She
I'm like, I'm
learns.
okay with the bite because
Mhm.
I'd rather.
Yeah.
And like,
Let's
okay,
go.
chomp on me,
This is
fine,
not your house,
whatever.
sir. My
Move
house.
out of my way. Yeah. So
What would you tell a kid doing that?
Ooh, did you?
It's so
What would
funny.
Chisme say?
right?
In Spanish, you
Get
get
it
the chancla.
together,
Get
right?
the chancla.
Get the
chancla. I know what that
Andale,
means.
Frankie.
Time out.
Andale, Frankie.
Oh, I was gonna say I have a Frank Sinatra as well. You
Oh,
said
do
Frank
you?
Sinatra. Was that one of your
My dog.
Your dog.
He has one
Sinatra.
blue eye, one brown eye.
Cute,
So
cute.
yeah.
So ours is a tortoise.
Oh,
So we have the Shelton.
the tortoise.
We have a Shelton John. Shelton John.
Instead of
I love
Elton
it.
John.
Shelton.
Shelton. John.
Super
I love the
cute.
names. That's
I
amazing.
love that.
Well, super cool. Well, you're playing with Oliver now. Aw, very good.
Oh, that's so fun.
I'm
Oliver
sure he's
and
having a great
company.
time. I think he's named after Oliver Queen. You know who that is?
Oh, Oliver Queen.
The superhero from Arrow. right?
Okay.
Right, Ricky? Tell me.
Arrow's a Netflix show, right?
I
Or
think
it's
it
on
was. I
Netflix?
never watched it, but I know the
Neither.
superhero, the comic book character.
It's so funny.
Anyway,
Oliver.
well,
I thought
speaking
Oliver from Oliver and Company.
Well,
that's
I
what
know they
thought.
like that. I know they like that movie too, so that might be part of it. But
Maybe
Oliver
there.
was the cat, right? From Oliver and Company. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
probably.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oliver's
don't
the
even
little kitty
remember.
cat. But that's a good name for a dog
I
or a
keep
cat. I
forgetting.
think.
Yeah. It's
But
been a
he's named
minute.
after
Sorry.
Oliver Queen. So speaking of animals, we should probably get to that.
Yes, let's
Are you
do it,
guys
let's do it.
excited?
Yes,
Do you have
I'm
any?
anxious.
Do
I
you
want
have
to
any
do this.
concerns or questions before we start with the animals?
No.
We're gonna start smaller.
I think it'll happen once we
Once we
get
have
to
it
this.
out.
Very good.
Yeah.
So let me know if you guys out there in the audience have any questions about the animals. You know what to do. Type in the comment or question down below. Keep it family friendly, and we will highlight it down below and answer your question to the best of our ability. I'll let them answer your questions. How about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Wouldn't
If
that
we
be
can.
entertaining?
If we don't
And then I'll
freak out.
clarify later.
Okay.
So the first
Oh
animal
my
and
gosh.
probably most of the animals that we bring out today, I'm gonna do the handling.
Yes.
And I think you guys are fine with that. So
Oh yeah.
please.
but this one for her benefit. So this little girl,
Oh
This
my
little
gosh.
girl.
she is about 4 years old. Oh my gosh, I have to get her out of here first. So she's a little
Oh my
sticky.
gosh.
And I'm gonna hold her up for the camera so
Yes, yes,
everybody
yes.
can see, of course.
I've never
You guys that are
seen
familiar
a
with-
frog.
Once in a while to know her. This
Look at your
is
little face in the camera.
there we go. Oh, we can see her a little better. So this is Francis. Francis is a African bullfrog. The other name for the African bullfrog is the Pixie Frog, which makes no sense because this is one of the largest amphibians in the world. I don't mean to cover your
Really?
face.
No.
you're right
Sana,
above.
colita de rana. She's got magical
Heel,
powers.
heel. Oh yes. And if you kiss her, she might turn into a princess.
Oh,
Can you
never
kiss
know.
or no?
Well, I might get salmonella.
I was
but-
just gonna ask you, like, about
So for her
them.
benefit, I was gonna say it's actually not good to touch them, but I've rinsed my hands prior to this, and
And
we're
then you're
starting
gonna
with
do it again.
her, and then I'll wash my hands after handling her. I don't recommend the average person pick up a bullfrog or any kind of amphibian because they can give you salmonella and you can give them all kinds of problems.
Really?
They have a slime coat all over their body, delicious. And
So does
don't
it
lick
feel
it.
slimy or sticky?
Right now she's sticky, but what they can do is actually create more slime with their own boogers. Yep. And then they'll spread it all over their body. And it'll help them to that's fine. And it'll help them to be nice and moisturized. It's like a built-in moisturizer from their nose. Yum. It's their beauty regime.
And you're okay
It's
with that?
moco lotion.
I mean, I'm gonna
Moco.
wash my hands. I'll be fine. I've handled a lot of frogs and never had a problem.
So
But
what
yeah.
makes her special?
So these guys are an African species, and this species can grow to be the size of a volleyball.
What?
They're huge. And the shape of a
What?
volleyball. They're round. You can see she's round.
Are they the ones that are like loud at night?
Yes, so there are bullfrogs here in Texas as well, right? So we're in South Texas, you guys. I'm just gonna bring this up so I can lean. But this type of bullfrog is from Africa. But there are bullfrogs here in the United States too, obviously, and they are the ones that go. Roar, roar, roar. But it's only the boys that do that. So the
Girls
boys,
go, hey.
right?
What do girls do?
Hey, come over here.
Girls
They
are
actually kind of
bad.
do like little cheeps, little
Oh.
like bird noises. That's what they sound like. Yeah, very,
So
very
how does the
minimally.
thing go with the thing?
So that's only the boys.
Her little leg.
I wanted to use my hand to illustrate something, and I let her go for a second. Her little butt just so cute.
I know that is kind of cute.
She won't be in your hand.
Maybe,
Maybe.
but you might be in the splash zone a little bit. Just saying.
when you say
But don't
splash-
worry.
okay,
Yeah, you
cool.
know,
All
I'll
right.
catch it. In fact,
Sure. You didn't
That's
give me
so
an apron.
funny.
I'm gonna put this over the computer now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, she rarely does that, so don't worry. It is a defense mechanism. So
Oh, is
when
it?
frogs get
Okay.
grabbed by predators, they can pee all over you. That's also another reason not to pick them up. So if you guys see a frog in your backyard, a toad, or anything like that, we don't recommend picking them up at all because of course they can make you sick. You can make them sick with the oil and hand sanitizers and soaps on your fingers.
My dog
actually-
Mango,
they
the one I was
actually
telling you about,
Absorb that
ate a
stuff.
frog. Remember I was telling
Oh,
you
you got
that she
sick, right?
swallowed a frog and her
Or she got
mouth
sick.
started just
She was an
foaming,
old
and I
lady
had to
that
take
swallowed a
her-
frog.
And I had to
Yeah.
take her to the vet.
Yeah,
and
they're
they had
toxic.
to like, yeah, they had to
Mhm.
pump her tummy and everything.
On the left.
Puke
Do
it right
I
up.
know. She just like went after it and ate
Oh my
it.
gosh, a big dog, right? You have
Yeah,
big dogs.
Mango, yeah, she was.
So, does she know that you're her pet owner, or like?
I don't know.
She seems so calm in your
Thank you.
hands. I'm not like,
Yeah.
not anxious
Yeah.
to get out or jump off. She's just.
I'm definitely
chilling.
holding her in I think a comfortable way because she's not trying to get down, but sometimes she does try to get down. It just depends. But
How
they're kind of an inactive type of frog.
Yeah.
Some frogs are very wiggly and really hard to hold. She's gonna do it a little bit.
She's
But
like,
the proper way to actually catch and survey frogs in the wild, if you're like a herpetologist, is to hold them around the waist. Herpetologists are scientists that study reptiles and amphibians. I know you're like backing away from the splash zone, but you can, I'm not going to do it, but you can actually give them a little waist hold around the waist with your hand or fingers, depending on the size of the frog. And that protects you and them from any danger. And it's kind of awkward looking, so I'm not going to do it here. But yeah, so this is a much better way to kind of show her, obviously, to the camera, but to keep her comfortable because she's just kind of sitting.
How did she come into your possession?
So we actually did purchase her. In fact, actually, I got her as a trade. So long story. My one of my scorpions had many babies, and she was
When you say many,
39. To be exact. 39 babies.
39 scorpions.
I do not. I did not. So I only kept one, and the rest of them were a trade and to another like a pet shop owner over in Dallas, and a really cool pet shop in the Plano, Texas area called oh crap. I'll think of it in a minute. A terrible name for a pet store. Plano. Dallas DFW Reptarium. That's what it is. There's many pet stores out there. DFW Reptarium. So the owner out there actually traded me a couple of frogs, her and another frog called a tomato frog. A bullfrog and a tomato frog for all the baby scorpions, because they're not super common in captivity for them to have babies like that. So I just kind of like asked him, like, would you want to take these guys? And he's like, yeah, and I'll trade you some other animals. And I was like, fantastic. We're building our zoo. What a coincidence. So we got Francis here.
Francis, a silly question. Is this an animal that anybody can have and own, or do you have to be a special Amanda?
That's a special Amanda. Thank you. So some animals
have like a special.
Animals specifically, I'm gonna get closer to you. Specifically, exotic type animals are typically okay depending on the species. Most exotic reptiles that are non-venomous, of course, or amphibians that are non-dangerous to humans, most of them are legal. I don't necessarily recommend them for everybody because it's just like the hermit crab scenario, where you gotta do your research, or else it may not be pretty, right? They take a lot of special care. They're not cats and dogs. There's not a ton of information out there, or tons of vets that see them, et cetera, et cetera.
She's so photogenic.
Thank you.
Like looking at her, she's got the prettiest eyes.
Thank you for saying that. She's super cool. She's like, yes, I am.
She needs a Tinder profile.
She does. She needs to find that.
Hi,
that other Rana.
I'm searching for my other
Rana.
Yeah, Rana.
So do you know that Rana out there? Do you know something really interesting about these guys is that they are single dads. So she's not a dad, right? She's not even a mom. But as a female, she would not take care of her babies. Dad takes care of all the babies. So this is an African species. They live in Africa, and in Africa, there's only 2 seasons.
Like, bye.
Exactly. So they in Africa, there's only 2 seasons. I know what a. There's 2 seasons: the wet and the dry season. So during the wet season is when they have all their babies, and they have hundreds of them every time. But Dad will actually wake up when the rains come, and he'll be like, oh, it's time to call some ladies. So he'll do the thing, and the girls will be like, hey,
I'm coming.
And then he'll mate with several of them. And
she gets down like that.
Okay. Not monogamous at all. They got to take every opportunity to make lots of babies.
Sounds real familiar.
Yep. Can you relate? Sana.
Right.
No. Or Sana.
Right.
But these guys will basically lay their eggs, and Dad will fertilize the eggs, of course. Those of you that didn't know that. And then Mom leaves, and Dad stays. And Dad will actually guard all those hundreds and hundreds of babies and be the greatest single dad in nature. For it's a couple months usually, until they're grown enough to be kind of on their own, pretty much. But it's a while in frog terms. This species can live for 30 years though. So every wet season they'll have more and more babies, and they're not an endangered species. They're doing just fine with all those babies in the wild. But Dad is a really good dad, and Dad gets huge. So the male African bullfrog is about as big as a volleyball, and the females are a little bit smaller than a volleyball.
I can't even imagine.
Incredible.
I would freak out.
She's only 4, and they can live to be in their 30s. So she's got a lot of growing to do, but she won't be as big as a boy. And that's rare in the frog world. Usually frog females are bigger. So they are girls rule and boys rule, I guess. But in this species, the dad is bigger, so he can chase away all the enemies, protect his family,
babies.
And even if the river dries up where they're at, the river, the pond, wherever they are, the puddle that they're at, he will dig down and make sure there's no more water to come up, so they don't dry out, because that's really important for amphibians.
Wow.
She's super cool.
She is.
And frogs are very, very important to the natural environment. Do you guys know why? There's a couple reasons.
They eat flies and bugs.
Yes, exactly. All those bugs. Very, very good. So smart. you could work here once in a while.
There
See,
you
I
go.
knew it. So these guys actually eat a lot of insects for us, right?
Mhm.
And of course that's important because we can get sick from mosquitoes, flies, all sorts of things. A lot of animals can get sick from that, and too many bugs can take over and everything else, and it's just not a pretty picture. So if we have more carnivores like these guys that eat a lot of bugs, then we're in good shape. And also amphibians can actually show us if the planet is healthy or not.
Really?
So they're very sensitive, like I said, to like hand sanitizers, soaps, our skin, our oil, things like that. And they absorb all kinds of bad things in the environment too. So if there's an illness going on, we know about illnesses.
They got the Rona?
Right? They can't get the Rona, but they can get like funguses and all sorts of like topical stuff. And in fact, that's unfortunately a problem with a lot of frogs in the wild that are becoming endangered. Not this species, but other species.
So
and
that's an environmental problem.
So they can show you that the planet is healthy or not, or things like pollution.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you guys, like I'm getting rashes, and I'm
seriously.
Calm down.
Like some of my offspring didn't make it. Yeah. I'm a little itchy, so calm down with the pollution.
Yeah.
Or like climate change and things like that too. So they like a certain temperatures of water and whatnot. And a lot of amphibians like super cold water. And if the planet's getting too hot, then they don't make it, unfortunately, or they can start to become sick. So they're an indicator species for us. So that's why they're so important. So if you see
Interesting.
Indicator species. Look at the leg.
Oh my goodness. Look at this little leg.
Colita de rana.
Love her.
Thank you. Do you guys out there have any? I got her. Don't worry. She ain't going nowhere.
She's so sweet.
Trying to readjust.
She's so
I'm
sweet.
gonna grab my drink right now.
Of course.
While you're.
She's
so
leaving.
funny.
She's leaving us.
She's like,
oh my
I'm done.
gosh.
With
She's all done. So one really fun fact about these guys is they can eat pretty large meals. Whatever can fit into their mouth. Remember, they get big. They get a lot bigger than this, and they swallow using their eyeballs.
What? Wait, what?
Yep. So their little head is kind of small like this, but their eyes are really big. And when they blink down, look you guys, the eyes sink down into their head. Okay. So all frogs, when that happens, have their eyes on top of their head, so they can see above the water and things like that and take a good look. Frogs have awesome eyesight, full color at night and everything. They can see everything at night. Unlike dogs, and unlike we can't even see at night either. Yeah. We can't see at night either very well with no light, right? But they can see by the moonlight and see all the colors that exist, and probably more than we can. But they also swallow. Most frogs are. This is a more nocturnal species than diurnal, which is
like
daytime.
They come alive. I feel like anytime.
Yes, there's more bugs. It's safer, things like that. Some frogs are diurnal, which means daytime active. Diurnal. That's the opposite of nocturnal. They weren't. And then crepuscular is another one where
one more time.
Crepuscular. That is when animals are more active in the morning and the evening. Kind of like, some humans, I guess, sometimes. Right. So I'm more nocturnal than diurnal myself, but as a species, we're diurnal. But anyway, that's when there's more bugs, less danger, things like that. Less heat. Frogs don't really like to be out in the hot sun because their skin cannot take it. Makes sense. Etc. They got to put that snot sunscreen all over their body to handle the sun, or just be in the water, right? But since their eyes are so big and bulbous on top of their head, that's actually how they function to swallow. So that pushes food down. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Like what? Crazy. And they even have a third eyelid. Have you ever heard of that on an animal? No. Dogs have third eyelids. Lots of animals have third eyelids. Humans don't. We got gypped. The third eyelids, you can see hers is actually, that third eye. It's actually like a little bit clear. So it's kind of like, it's hard to see. I don't want to poke around the eye too much. But it's kind of like a little
went upwards.
Little windshield wiper there effect. But it's actually another eyelid that can cover her eye, and she can go swimming underwater and use that as a goggle.
That's pretty badass.
Francis gets built-in goggles.
It's fine. Moco. Ricky says Moco.
One big Moco.
One big Mocos.
She is, but also all of their booger slime, and they'll actually do that as a way to survive during the dry season as well. So in Africa, like I said, there's a wet season and a dry season. They don't have 4 seasons. They don't have cold. I'm gonna make sure this is in my lap too. Just saying. You might see some of that defense mechanism all over me here in a little bit. Right. Hopefully not. But they to survive the dry season, since there's hardly any water, they'll go underground and bury themselves and cover themselves in that slime. And it kind of creates a little bit of a bag over their body, like a
sack.
Yeah, it's kind of like a plastic bag, on their body, and they just kind of go to sleep, and it's kind of like hibernating. It's called estivating, which is through a dry season rather than cold. That's how they survive. And they pop out of the ground like little zombies coming out of the ground, or from a scary movie. You have a zombie character.
I love it.
She just made it up.
Right?
So that we should come up with one if there's not. So they'll pop out.
Wow.
And that's when, like I said, the males will start finding water and singing. They're in their deep baritone voice, and the girls will say, "Hey," and then they make the babies, and the girls leave. And what a great dad! Are you a girl?
So cute, Frances.
Thank you for your time, Frances.
She has been just wonderful.
Thank you, guys. And she rarely makes a peep, and when she does, it's a peep. So we're pretty confident that she's a girl. Also, by now, being 4 years old, she should be a ton bigger.
Oh, okay.
As a male.
So
that's
how
my
can you
best
tell?
guess.
So there's no
That's
no
my best
way
guess.
to like
It's-
look or check like this is
Not like a dog
wow
or a person, I guess.
Yeah.
Check the undercarriage.
Yeah.
But if you've worked around a lot of frogs, like I have, you'll see certain things like, yeah, it's a girl. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure.
You're the whisperer. You know, girl.
Thanks.
Right?
Thanks for backing me up. I'm going to actually use the hand sanitizer. This is always good practice, you guys, to use hand
That's
sanitizer. It's for the humans.
Not for the
It's not
animals.
for the animals.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
Oh,
Her
now
little,
she's like-
so she's in her little travel enclosure, and
She's like, I'm ready
she
to
wanted
play.
to jump around a little bit. She knows what's coming out next.
Oh, no.
So I thought I would bring
does she know?
some.
Go.
She doesn't.
I'm gonna scooch over this way.
I'm gonna unbutton my shirt.
So if you guys are get ready. So don't worry, the next animal is also harmless to you guys. Not gonna be anything harmful to you guys. It's gonna be several animals actually, and they're coming out next. But if you guys are just joining us, it's Once in a Wild Wednesday. Welcome back to Once in a Wild Wednesday, or welcome in the first place if you've never been here. We do go live each and every Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we've been having a lot of special guests. And today I have 2 special guests. Remind everybody who you are and where you come from and how we can find you.
I'm Nina Duran,
I'm Samantha Najera.
and we are the co-creators of the Bean and Chisme show.
There it is.
Yes.
Check them out on all the social media. What all social media do you guys have? Everything?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You name it.
All of it. Yeah.
We got
Us
it.
too.
On all of them.
In fact, that's how I saw your videos. Was on
You can just
TikTok.
Google Bean and Chisme. You'll
And
find
it'll come
us.
up.
Bam.
It'll come up.
And everything's based in San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
That's so exciting. A local celebrity. Yay. Okay, so our next animals are bugs. Are you
Are
excited?
you gonna hold
Are you gonna
those?
hold-
Yes.
like, what is
But it won't.
So
come
I will
over to
start by
us.
holding one. I actually brought 6 today, just in case, because sometimes they need breaks.
I
So
feel
we'll
like I've
just swap
seen these
them
in the movies.
Yes. So the next, a lot of animals are in movies, right? And fun fact, I did want to be an animal trainer for
We're all
movies.
looking at what are you doing?
I know.
I thought that's just
Freaked me out.
it's nothing.
You scared me when you grabbed me.
Humans are
Sorry.
far scarier than animals, you guys. So,
I'm actually sweating too.
oh, you're fine. So I'm gonna see which one's gonna be the
Oh,
calmest.
he hissed.
They do hiss.
Como que
And,
no,
Well,
wait,
uh,
it's not gonna crawl like you can.
No,
you can
and it
maintain
doesn't. It
I'm sorry,
doesn't
that's
fly. There's no flying
But
involved.
you can keep.
So if you guys couldn't guess, it's
No.
gonna be
Just
some of
keep
our
him
big,
up
beautiful
there.
bugs. So we'll start out like this and talk about her. This is
Cool.
actually a young lady, Madagascar hissing cockroach. So the
She
last
won't go
animal is
anywhere?
African. This one's technically African as well, but from Madagascar.
Y'all Africa and y'all's animals.
I know,
I know.
huge. Although, let's be real, Texas has big cockroaches too.
Yeah,
And they
ours
fly.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were just talking about that on the way over here.
And they're
It's
terrifying.
not-
These don't fly.
And I don't find them pleasant at
So
all.
these don't fly.
These do not fly. They're also not nearly as fast, and they don't carry diseases like our cockroaches.
So
here
these
in
are like
United
the
States.
coolest cockroaches you could ever find.
I think so, and they actually make pretty good pets, better than hermit
Yeah,
crabs.
you can
So can you buy these?
You can.
You can tell they're chilling on you.
Yeah.
I've never seen a roach
How-
chilling.
What is
No,
the best
exactly. They're
way
usually
never-
frantic and panicked.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too. It's funny because you don't even think like. I feel like a
Aw.
roach. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it another animal that's like misunderstood?
Very, very. Even
Okay.
frogs. Frogs are very misunderstood
Yeah,
too.
you're
I've met a lot of people since being in the field that are afraid of amphibians, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was a fear because I've never been like
roaches
that.
are like a big
But
fear.
definitely bugs.
yeah.
Insects
Any
are a
kind of
huge
roach.
phobia, and I understand. Roaches are actually my least favorite animal. Don't tell this one. But
Don't
like
cover their
the
ears.
the,
Or
the
does it
other
have ears?
kind.
Well, does it have ears? Can you hear?
No, they don't. They have antenna. But
She
anyway,
won't jump. She won't jump.
she might, but it'll be like down, and then I'll just pick her up.
Oh, okay.
Not a big deal. It's not going to be like at you.
Okay. She doesn't
So-
play that game.
No, these guys, like I said, they're not graceful. They don't fly. They're not that fast. They can skitter a little bit, but that's probably not going to happen. These guys are from Madagascar in the jungle. They're typically on the forest floor, kind of buried underneath stuff, and they do a really big favor to the jungle by eating a lot of dead plants. That's what they eat. They eat plants. They're not going to be an animal that attacks or eats anything besides plants.
So just plants.
Yes.
This is the one from the Lion King. He's one of the grubs.
Oh, maybe that like Timon and Pumbaa are eating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Technically, no, because these are only found in Madagascar, which is an island next to Africa, which is still in the African continent, but it's a separate country from any of the other African countries. It's totally separated. It's huge, but it's an island, and these animals are only found there because they can't swim and they can't fly.
So
And
what are
they don't
some
really
fun
infest
facts about
either.
this little guy?
Super
'Cause
cool.
there's
So
gotta be something
number
to touch
one,
about him.
you can. You want to touch it?
I kind of want to
Like,
touch
just
this.
it's
Okay,
very
let me
nice.
get her. So first of all, this is a lady roach, and how I know that.
I was gonna ask how you know. It's
Let me show you a male roach. Why not? Since we have several.
Oh,
You're good. You're good. So these guys actually are pretty tough, and they
Tough in
like
what
to kind of
sense?
jump down and be very ungraceful. So this is the male,
okay.
and the males actually have little bumps on top of their head.
oh.
And in general, I think the males are actually a little bit prettier. They kind of have a prettier look about them.
That
Thumbs
ain't right.
up for roaches.
He looks like he's
You're like,
I
it's
love how
coming right
she's
at
just
me.
like, okay, hi. Oh, hi. You're so
And yeah, so they have these
Oh,
little,
okay.
these have these little. Sorry, did I move too fast?
No, you're good. Yeah.
like the int-
So they have
Look, I got those too. Right
they
here.
have little.
Right?
Yeah, you
Little baby one.
do.
He's for sure staring.
So they have these little bumps here, and the female's head
What
is
is that?
smooth. So they're like little, they're
Oh.
almost like little antlers.
Oh.
They look really, really, really sexy to the lady roaches. And also they can kind of
check out my
they can
little
kind of like
outpost.
push each other around like the males can for like a ritual. It's not really, you know how guys are. They're just like they're trying
so
to look
in
tough.
every species they gotta do
They
that.
gotta
I know.
Okay.
They're trying to look tough, but it's just all for pretend and to be able to get a girlfriend. So that's how we know this is a guy and the other one was a girl.
Wait, how
So-
did you know that?
So the male has the bumps and the female
Oh, the bumps. That's right.
and the
that's right,
female
head
has the
bumps.
smooth head. I know you're really
I'm
distracted.
so like distracted just
So I'm
looking
gonna
at
see
it.
how he'll act. I think
We're
the other one's a
actually
little
not
calmer.
listening, we're just
It's fine.
observing.
I'm
I'm
sweating.
so sorry. No,
This whole chair is like sweaty.
Yeah, no.
It's
We'll clean up later.
I know, right?
Clean up on aisle, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Okay, let's focus on us a little bit. So yeah, she's gonna
Okay,
be
let
nice
me
and
go ahead
hot.
and do
So
that.
are you ready?
Yes.
I want to make sure I'm getting on camera. Oh,
She did it. She's so cute.
Good job. What does it feel like?
It feels like
Tell everybody.
a bumpy piece of plastic.
Let me place the plastic. Great.
Little bumpy.
Great
piece.
description.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, they feel
I
like
touched
polished wood or something really
Yeah.
smooth. They're actually not unpleasant to touch. Do you want to do it too?
I'll tell. Can I just tell me when it's safe?
It's always safe. They're not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
but
that part
there
is
you go.
pretty simple.
Great job.
Hi,
They're
guys.
kind of like a beetle, like you said,
Yeah.
Lion King-esque.
They're delicate.
more
right?
beetly.
Like, are they? Like,
But
you
they're
have to
pretty
be-
tough.
We're just so used to
No,
these
I mean-
wild
I mean,
roaches
let's-
in our
let's-
houses that are
yes,
rare, you know, that
absolutely.
here I
Here I
am. Like,
am.
oh,
So that's another
You're
thing we
okay.
actually offer here once in a while is exposure therapy, believe it or not. So are you
Oh.
familiar with any other exposure therapy?
Yes.
Like
So y'all do
fear
it with-
bites?
Yes.
Bugs, spiders,
Ava,
birds,
get in here. My
and
daughter.
snakes.
Come here.
That's
Don't really
so
come in here. We'll do that
cool.
Don't come in here.
But snakes is one of the most common fears. We were just talking about how much I
that's a
love
big one.
snakes.
So you
Yeah.
have-
And we have some very calm, very sweet snakes that literally anybody can hold as long as you're being nice to them. And they're a lot more fragile than we are because they're smaller. And same thing with these guys. These are very fragile compared to a human.
Mhm.
But that being said, this is one of the more tough type of insects. So they are like holdable by guests or touchable and things like that. Most insects are very fragile. These guys are designed to like kind of climb up a tree or be kind of stepped on a little bit in the jungle to an extent by like an animal with paws, not really a human, right? But they can go up into a tree and like jump out of a tree and be fine on the
Wow.
fall. They're super tough. They have an exoskeleton all over their body, which is like a shell.
So they have
Kinda like
nine
the hermit
lives.
Probably more than that. It's a roach after all.
Yeah,
Roaches
right?
survive the
Roaches
They
apocalypse.
don't-
just keep surviving.
Die.
So yeah, so that's a fun fact is how you can tell the genders. Another fun fact is this is one of the longest lived insects in the world. They can
Oh.
actually live for 5 years. That's extremely long for an
Wow.
insect. Most insects live for like
Like
weeks.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And even
Aw.
flies, aren't they like a day sometimes?
Yeah,
Like
one third.
Not in my house.
Yeah.
They need to go.
A lot of insects, yeah, right. Get out of here. Shoo. But a lot of insects live a long time if you count like their larval stage. So it's like a worm or a
from the
baby,
time
egg,
all the
larva,
way
adult,
through.
right?
Mhm.
But as an adult insect, most insects do not make it very long. So that's one reason why a lot of traveling zoos like us, once in a while, we have Madagascar hissing cockroaches because they're a lot easier to handle. They're harmless, obviously, they can't bite you, and they're tough for the audience to interact with a little bit. And also, they live longer, so we're not having animals for like a matter of weeks and
And
then
then it just
crap,
dies.
you know.
Can you do the hissing, or how's the hissing?
So that's only going to be on
I
them. And
heard
to be honest with you, my
when you
hearing is
opened
really
it.
bad. So I
Okay.
couldn't even hear that.
When you open it, you
But what
did
I can try to
something,
do,
and I heard
there's
a
6
hiss.
of them in an enclosure, in a tub down here, little traveling tub. And what I can try to do is show everybody, and then maybe ASMR. No,
Right?
Oh,
Oh, it's
I
still in
felt
there.
like I
There's 6
heard
in there.
one earlier.
You heard
Yes, so
First
typically
opened
it's when
it.
you
It was
surprise
just
them
a
and they're like,
little-
They don't like to be
yeah,
caught.
it was a little thing.
if not, I can impersonate it. Oh. So they actually do hiss from their little holes in their body. They don't hiss with their mouth at all. They hiss with their little spots here, which
those
are
one on
little
the
holes.
side?
Wow.
So right here,
Check that
just like
out.
hermit crabs, they have sphericals instead of a mouth that breathes. They don't breathe with their mouth at all. They breathe with their. Sorry, I'm not trying to block you. I'm trying to figure out. There we go.
You're fine.
There's little holes here, and that's how they
Yeah.
breathe out of their hind end. Isn't
That's
that weird?
so cool.
That's kind of crazy. It looks
Air
like
out
an
of the butt.
instrument.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they will hiss to. They will kind of hiss to scare you away or scare
Yeah.
predators away. Really, they're trying to sound like a snake.
The snake. I was gonna say it sounded like a little snake.
Like a
sound.
small snake, right? But they also hiss to communicate. But to me, it sounds the same as the other hiss.
What feeds on these little poor babies?
All
That guy,
kinds,
that girl.
all kinds of
Okay.
things. So frogs eat
Yeah.
them, chameleons eat them, lizards of all kinds. That eat other.
Well, look
other
how
animals.
juicy they are.
So these babies are lucky.
That's
here.
like a
Have you?
stick.
Yes. So these guys don't have to be.
They don't
I
have
know
to-
she's probably like,
She's
like over
like,
there.
She's holding my dinner
That's
right
a
now.
Stick
and
dinner.
She's holding something.
lemurs eat them too. You know what lemurs
Oh,
are?
yeah,
Those
they're
are
so
cute, right? Cats will eat. I mean, really anything that eats other animals in Madagascar eats them. And that's one of their purposes in life, unfortunately for them. But fortunately for
Aw.
everything else, there's tons of them in Madagascar, not an endangered species, just like most roaches, right?
Yeah.
There are some roaches that are endangered. There's so many species. I don't know how many there are. I'm not an entomologist. Entomologists is people that study insects and invertebrates and things.
Mhm.
Herpetologists study amphibians
Crabs.
and reptiles. But anyway, so there's a lot of roaches in the world, but these are only found in Madagascar.
Wow.
But they feed a lot of animals out there. They also have 6
I wonder if they
legs.
get bored.
Meaning what?
Like if I don't know, if like animal, like if they just if they
What?
get bored.
Like just being in Madagascar?
Like,
Or, like
this
just
is
being just
boring.
chilling,
Just like in general.
I just wonder with animals. I
They're
always wondered that
teenagers.
with dog, like with animals.
So see, they have 6 legs. Oh, this one's being so calm while I hold him.
I know. Look, I'm
They
telling
have,
you, you're the whisperer.
Maybe. I'm speaking the language.
And their antennas
Um,
can grow back, right?
They
Like,
do.
if
Good
something
question.
happens to
So
their antennas,
they-
can grow back.
They actually have to molt. So as an
Oh.
insect, as a a crab, all
Mhm.
those guys that are invertebrates, they have an exoskeleton instead of a inside
Mhm.
endoskeleton, right? Like we do. They don't have a vertebrate, so they're invertebrates. So these guys will have to take off their entire exoskeleton shell as they grow.
Mhm.
Hi.
know,
We'll
right?
let them fall off the cliff. And then they will
Mm.
kind of just be a brand new roach. And then when they do that, that's when they can
Wow.
actually regrow their legs, regrow their
All of
antenna,
it?
things like
Okay.
that. But they have to wait for their molt. It's not just going to grow
It
back.
just doesn't has to be at
automatically.
that. How often do
Correct.
they do that?
Well, they live for around 5 years, and as babies, they're going to molt a lot more and more
Okay.
often to grow up, right? And not be so tiny that they're eaten by everything. Because so
Sure.
if you're a prey, the smaller you are, the more vulnerable. So they want to grow. I mean, they should grow faster. So they try to eat all the food, grow up, and when they're mature, then it's going to be like maybe once a year,
Okay.
if that.
That's
so
crazy.
not
So if he
not
needs
as
a new
often.
antenna, he's got to wait a whole year.
Oh.
Yep, pretty much.
You broke it off.
I
Bummer.
got to wait till
Bummer.
next Christmas.
And the antenna is actually how they smell as well
Oh,
as
okay,
feel.
yes.
Of course,
Okay.
they're feelers, but they also smell with their antenna.
Okay.
I can't remember how they hear. If anybody knows out there what function that is or how they function to
Maybe it's
hear,
vibration too.
I think it is, but I know they do hear as well. They're
I was like,
much
he's got
better
a
at
gold leg. It's your ring.
it. It is my ring.
A gold leg.
See my engagement
Give me that
ring?
rope.
Oh,
I
you
was-
can't
how much
see
is
it.
the
I
rope?
was like, he's got a
How
gold
much
leg.
is
There's
Right.
my ring. I was
I'll
gonna say
take-
you can't
I'll
see
take
it. It's a
that
roach.
That's
We
so
got golden dip
cool.
roaches in here, y'all.
And this is one of the animals that I had to get used to.
Oh, I was gonna
handle, 'cause
say.
I am not a fan of roaches in
Yeah.
general. Sorry.
You look like a
Um,
total fan, though.
Thank
know,
you.
you're
I've
like,
gotten
"Aw."
really used to it.
It's me doing my
Madagascar.
roaches. When I worked at
Not so bad.
PetSmart, one of the things that they make you do is if you can put the crickets in the
Oh
bag.
yeah, of course.
And so that was one of my first things I had to do is put the crickets in the bag. And I freaked out the first time I had to do
Crickets
it.
in the back.
Even
for
I
what?
just So
to
when
feed the animals.
they sell
People
crickets
buy
at
crickets.
PetSmart, and so people go to buy crickets for their animals.
Oh, and you have to bag the cricket? Oh,
them
yes.
yourselves.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes they come out everywhere, and
Not
so I
doing it.
had to get
Yeah,
used
crickets
to
are
that.
a lot more annoying than
Oh my
these.
gosh, they go
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
I mean, I'm actually glad I learned today about these guys because I'm a big not roach fan.
Yeah.
I'm down with these. I'm
Super
down
cool.
with these roaches.
Down with Madagascar
I can
roaches.
deal with these Madagascar.
Ricky asked if they can move it. They definitely
Yeah,
move
I
it.
do move it. And I do move it. It's more for the lemurs, right? I had to hold a lemur
Yes.
once.
Did you?
It was at SeaWorld. They
Okay,
have like a
yeah.
rehab center, and
yeah.
Tim Morrow and Chris
Yeah, I know
Brooks were both still there before he left to the zoo
Mhm.
and got to do a really cool tour. And
Super
got
cool.
to hold and feed a little lemur.
Oh,
That they were like,
Oh, like a baby one. Oh,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it was a baby,
I'm
but it was
jealous.
one of the
But it was
lemurs
trained,
that was
obviously.
there. Yeah, that they were. Again, I didn't even know that SeaWorld had a rehab
Yeah.
program.
I didn't
They
know
had
that either.
all these
SeaWorld actually
animals there.
rescues more animals than any other zoo on the planet.
I had
SeaWorld
no
as a
idea.
collective,
And
yeah.
that's one
Isn't that
thing
cool?
that I felt like
As
they
far as I
never-
know, yeah.
I had no
Exactly.
idea.
Exactly. I didn't
How
know
come they
until
don't
a couple-
invite me?
Right.
Right?
I didn't know until
SeaWorld?
a couple of years ago.
They should invite everybody.
Mhm. It was just such an interesting side because I mean I've been to SeaWorld so many times and I
Oh,
got to go to
good
these
for you.
other sides, right? And see
Mhm.
just like what? This is the whole
That's
other-
great. I'm so glad you have a
Yeah.
positive experience with SeaWorld. That's another controversial topic
I
as well.
did.
We
Yeah.
at SeaWorld all the time.
Awesome.
We love Shamu.
Yay, Shamu! I grew up going there, which I'm sure you guys did
I
too.
do
Now that I
too.
think
Yeah,
about it,
that's why
Yeah.
I'm like,
big inspiration for me to
Yeah.
do something cool with my life with animals.
Yeah.
And that was another job that was kind of like an aha moment for me too.
Ah,
I'm like, oh, look at the animal
yes.
training. Look at what
Yeah.
they can do and what they're doing for the environment. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do.
That's so
That's when I
cool.
went back to school. I was like, I'm going back to
Okay.
school. So I found a
See?
school in Florida, which is a long way
I
away.
love it.
But then I got to do a lot of Disney World trips and a lot
Yeah.
of
Oh, speaking
and a
our
lot
language.
of SeaWorld, of
Universal.
course, Universal, all of that. I actually have never been to Universal. I know I want to go so bad, especially to go visit Harry Potter and everything. But I always had like a hookup at Disney because I knew people that worked there
Yeah.
at like the
I know.
Animal Kingdom and stuff. So I was like, oh well, I'm obviously going where it's free, so or less expensive. So it just defaulted. But I would love to go back and go to Universal.
Call me.
I love it.
Okay, Roachy.
Okay.
So the roaches are the ones that have so many babies for us, which is why I don't know how many animals we have because they're constantly making babies, and I guess they're happy and making families for us. So we always have them.
Where are they at? Where are the babies at?
They're upstairs in the reptile and amphibian and bug and opossum room.
Okay.
But they have around 30 babies
I
per
was
time
just
they
gonna
have
ask.
them. It's not like a ton, like the frog. And
That's
like
a lot
hundreds.
though. 30 babies.
It's not for an insect though.
Really?
The insect, I mean, the ones
Okay,
that
I'm
they
gonna
don't
ask
lay
you
eggs.
that.
They
Oh.
get live birds.
I was gonna say, do they just all come out at once?
It's kind of like
Oh no, Sam!
Sorry. You're going to mess up the possum over there.
It's fine.
You don't understand.
I'm sorry.
Humans are more scary than
She
animals.
went like this on my leg.
I
you
know.
guys.
Well, I just envisioned a birth. through
Yes.
the
And I'm
roof.
sweating again.
And she's
So
in the
it's
labor and
kinda
delivery.
Right?
It's kind of like one by one. They have the little babies.
Have you watched this before?
Yeah.
Wow.
that must be
wow.
just insane to see.
So y'all throw a baby shower.
It kind of looks like right every time.
Do throw a baby shower.
In fact, they're one of the only animals that we don't name either because I can't tell any of
I
them
was gonna
apart.
yeah.
And I don't know how many we have. But
That's
adults right now,
hilarious.
the big adults, we have 11 right now.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So it's hard to keep track when you have so many children, right?
So many children.
Right.
Family
Deer.
tree up in here.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
You did a great job.
Bye.
If you want to name him, you can. Think about it. We have 6 to name down here, and the rest of them are
Ooh.
upstairs. So fun fact, all the animals do live with us.
We have a roach
I
named
know.
Frijolita
So, yeah.
and Little Chismosa.
Oh,
You'll have to name
Yeah,
2 of your
two of them.
animals after us.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, our last animal is coming out, you guys, and you guys have been a lot of fun. You've been a lot of fun. This doesn't mean
This
that
has
it's the
been so
end.
cool.
You guys are welcome back anytime, by the way.
Thank
And this
you.
doesn't mean that it's the end. It's just the last animal coming out for the evening because I try to limit it so we don't go all night long. It's almost 8 o'clock.
I know.
That's crazy.
I might have to take a party break, but I'm
That's
down.
okay. So
I'm
we'll
toned
get to
down.
the last animal. She's not gonna probably last as long as the other two because
Yeah.
she's a little
ready
bit
to go.
wiggly and she's like, I'm ready to go back to bed.
Yeah.
This is a nocturnal species though, so at night, right?
Ah.
And it's actually an animal you'll see right here in the United States, right here in San Antonio.
I've
So you've
seen
probably
it.
seen one before.
Oh yeah.
And she kind of looks
She's
like
all sleepy.
Both freak me
I have
out.
to
I
stand
know,
up
that's
to
a
get
big
her.
one.
So I
you-
woke her
you
up
do-
a little bit.
Oh, look at
Do
her
you,
mouth.
girl.
do you need this?
Nope, I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay.
She
Good
did-
question.
She went.
I'm actually okay.
I saw. Is that a her or?
It is a her. So we're
I
gonna
saw
bring
her
her on
little
now.
mouth go
I'm
like-
gonna scoot back just a little bit.
Oh, no,
that
you-
way
you
everybody.
scoot.
It's not because I'm trying to get away from you
Look
guys,
at yawning.
but I just want to make sure with
I can
3 of
tell
us
it was
in here
yawning.
that you can see what I'm doing, and I'll probably
Yes.
just hold her right here. If you guys could just sit there, you're doing perfect. So come on, Alice. Her name is
Why does she open her mouth like she's yelling
So
at
that's
you?
actually a with no sound, right?
Yeah.
That's
Look,
actually
she gonna
kind of
bite you or no?
an instinct. No, she shouldn't.
Oh.
So that's kind of an instinct. They have terrible eyesight. So their first instinct when they get disturbed is to start opening their mouth. So
She's like,
that's,
ah.
that's one thing that can scare away predators is showing their teeth, just like any other animal. And they're absolutely not a domestic animal. This is an animal that not everybody can have. And it's absolutely illegal for most people to have an opossum. That's what we have out here, you guys. It's an opossum. Make sure and put the O in
How
there.
come I never say it right? Why
Because
yeah.
everybody calls them a possum without
Right.
the O, but that's incorrect.
Really?
So possums without the O are from Australia. That's a totally different
I'm so nervous.
species. And this is the opossum. It's okay. She's just getting adjusted. She's going to climb on me. She can't really jump. She's just trying to get her bearings here. And I'm just going to sit here like a genie.
Can she see?
They can see. Their eyesight is not very good. Their sense of smell is excellent. Their sense of hearing is excellent. And they are absolutely a prey animal, but they're also an omnivore. Do you know what that means?
Omnivore.
Omnivores.
Meat.
Carnivores eat
Oh.
corn. Herbivores eat
Meat.
herbs.
Yes.
And
Everything?
omnivores eat everything.
Omnivore, okay.
So she's a true
I'm a
omnivore.
omnivore.
And that's what a
Cheetos, hot
human
Cheetos.
is too.
I was gonna say.
They can eat anything. It's not necessarily good for them, right?
Right.
To be eating all the junk food, but they do get into people's garbage and eat all the things.
Yeah.
And they can eat a lot of foods that other animals cannot eat,
I
like
see her little nose just
like plants that are poisonous. They can eat frogs that are poisonous. They can eat
Really?
venomous snakes, and they can eat rotten food. They have like a super stomach. So they're one of the
Okay.
true omnivores, and that's why they're very important because they eat all the leftovers and messes that other animals like humans leave behind.
The cleaning crew.
Exactly. They're the garbage men of the animal world. We got to have those guys, right? So, and they
You
do
can't
not
touch.
carry
Wait, can you
diseases.
touch?
No.
So for her, we're going to ask you guys not to
Yeah.
touch, at least on the
I'm
live
okay
stream,
not touching.
just in case of how she's going to react. We want to make sure she's
Sure.
nice and calm. She likes me though, so it's okay. I raised her from a tiny baby.
I was gonna
And,
ask, so how old is Alice, and how did you get
Good
Alice?
question. So again, these are not really like a legal animal to have as a pet.
Right.
And that's to protect the wildlife that we have, right? From people just collecting them out of the wild. Because that could easily happen if there was no rules and
Yeah.
regulations, right? But Alice came from a friend of ours who's a rehabber. Are you familiar with
Sure.
wildlife rehabbers? You talked about SeaWorld, rehabbing animals, right? So she was found as a very tiny baby by somebody in their backyard, very, very small, too small to be on her own yet. Opossums in general are actually on their own pretty early in life because they don't live very long. They only live for 2 years in the wild, which is super sad.
What?
So the roaches actually live longer than the opossums.
So even this little girl will only even here,
Well,
or
in
will
human
she be
care,
able to
she should live up to 5. Hopefully, right?
still-
But that's like a
that's
100-year-old
still
person.
very long,
I
yeah.
know. And they're such wonderful animals. It makes me very sad.
Oh.
But she was found as like a 1 or 2 month old baby, super young. Not old enough yet to be on their own, but they're usually on their own at 3 or 4 months old. So almost, but in opossum terms, not quite ready, right?
And
So
so
she
how
was
old is
very
she?
small. She's about 8 months.
Oh, she's a
And,
And how did they
she's
play
pretty
dead?
big for 8 months, right? Where are you going?
baby.
She's gonna go over on my shoulder, I think. We'll see what she does. And if she
She's-
decides she's done, she'll just be
So
done.
you've been
But,
you've been her mama.
yes,
So she's
yes.
used to you. She knows you for sure.
That is right. So she's very used to me, and she's
Very
actually pretty
interesting
good
ears
with
So
most
her
people. She
ears
has
look like
bat-like
paper.
ears,
Yeah.
very
those are cute.
thin.
I've never
very, very
seen-
Very
sensitive.
cute.
Yeah, they look like
Opossums
paper.
are very primitive animals, so they have very kind of interesting features that a lot of ancient mammals have.
You're so pretty. I would just talk to you all day.
And when they usually get scared, they'll open their mouth a little bit. If they're really
what I
scared,
do.
they'll open their mouth and kind of hiss a little bit, kind of like the roach.
I
Right?
hear it. No, I've heard possums
And
before. I've seen what
and
they can do.
and they are aiming to look really gross and ugly.
That's
So
the
that's why
point,
people
right?
think that they're gross and ugly. It's all an act.
Because it's
They're just acting.
She's so cute.
They're actually harmless to humans. They almost never bite anybody. They can't carry rabies.
Really.
And if they get rabies, it usually dissipates out of their body very quickly because their
Is
body
that just 'cause
temperature is very low. So viruses need a warm body to survive. That's why.
Is
we
that
get
why they're
viruses.
able to eat dead
Yeah.
things and do
Yes.
all sorts of?
Exactly. And they also eat a lot of bugs and don't get sick from the bugs or dead animals that they eat.
Oh,
So
she's got the
similar to like
I've got some
vultures.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly like
Yeah.
vultures.
Okay.
Of course,
I
a
knew
different
another
species.
thing.
Great job. So they'll kind of like if they see somebody dangerous or a dog or a human, whatever might scare them because they don't understand, they will open their mouth, hiss, and if that doesn't work, they'll play dead and look really nasty. They'll
I
go to the
love
bathroom on themselves. They'll drool. Their eyes will roll.
Dude, that's
back.
all things that I'll do. If there's ever a predator that
It's
comes
like
in.
it's like a
I'm
bad
gonna
night
play
at the
dead.
club.
I'm gonna pee myself. I'm gonna do
Yep.
all those things.
You should because
so.
it works.
How can you on demand get her to be like?
No, because it's actually an overreaction to fear. So the last thing I want to do is make her scared. But she could do it if she was very, very stressed. And it's kind of a lot on their body. They can also stay that way for around 4 hours.
I noticed that.
And they will
like
look
when they
totally
do that,
dead.
they stay in that mold.
Very convincing. Very convincing. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. It doesn't work around cars. So that's usually where opossums get in trouble around here, right?
Because they'll think
anywhere
like,
there's civilization. They'll be scared and play dead,
and then get run
over because they're not fast enough to, make it out of the road. And they're like, why didn't it work?
Do her little nails hurt you or no?
It's kind of like, not really.
Is it like the beardy?
Does she need a manicure?
No, a little bit sharper than the beardy. She just had a nail trim last week, so she shouldn't really need that.
You
but
went to the salon, Missy?
They have climbers nails, so they kind of need their nails.
So is he like in
so
a?
Cute.
Is she like in a she has like a place where she can climb and she's in a little
And
house.
Alice actually has a adopted brother named Cooper. So we have an Alice and a Cooper. And yes, indeed.
I can't with
Thank you very much.
I can't.
Thank you for the laugh.
I just wish I could kiss your nose. I don't.
So I know
the two.
Yeah, and she's smelling a ton, right? Is that is that their main kind of thing? Like her little nose is not stopping. It's just like
I would say smell is probably their primary. After is hearing. And then after that is going to be touch because they have those whiskers and all their hair, of course. Yeah. And then after that's going to be seeing. They do see. They're not blind, but they don't see well. They see very blurry and they need glasses. And they see not in color. So that's really not going to help them at all.
Is that why, like, I've noticed, like, she even has not just only whiskers here in the front, but she has them, like, higher too.
Yeah, and most animals do that have whiskers. Your dogs have eyebrow whiskers. Your cats have that as well. Out there,
I have
that crazy.
Whiskers.
I mean, sometimes we gotta pluck them, right? The older we get, and you guys have beautiful eyebrows, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
We paid a lot of money.
I bet. And I've seen y'all's makeup on the show. I've seen your makeup on your sketches as well. It's even more impressive. But yeah, we named them after Alice Cooper because they have the fingerless gloves and they have the eye makeup, of course.
Yes,
and
natural.
And did you guys know these are not rodents?
Really?
They are actually in a totally different family group than the rodent. A lot of people think that they might be a hood rat.
I knew it.
Unlike
That's why
the
I feel
other
so
two,
close to Alice.
Unlike the other two hood rats in the room.
Right? We feel complete
amongst
now.
family.
She's not a rat at all. So she's actually a marsupial. Do you know what a marsupial is?
I've heard of a marsupial.
I bet you know what it is.
Probably.
Marsupials have a very special place to put their babies when they're first
born.
Yeah, right here. I love how you're pointing down.
All of us.
Oh, this.
We all do that. And then yeah.
Oh, I'm a marsupial myself.
Yeah, what's your excuse?
Yeah, exactly.
So they, I wonder if pouchy is like an insult to a marsupial. Pouchy,
right,
you'll get pouchy.
Little pouchy.
Yeah.
Look at a little marsupial.
These guys are born very tiny, about this big, and they're about the size of a gummy bear, and the texture of a gummy bear, no hair.
Oh,
they cannot. I know, super like gooey, and it's like
here.
Like put it back in. It's not done yet.
Yeah,
not done cooking.
yeah.
But that's the whole idea of the pouch. So they'll come out like any other birth, right? And then they'll crawl right back in.
She's trying to just crawl under.
Where are you going? You ready to go back to sleep?
That's what it is.
So they will crawl right back into the pouch. That's where all the milk is as well. These guys have around a dozen babies per time that they give birth, and they can give birth twice a year. So overall, they could have around 4 litters of 12 each. So they do a really good job being a mom. They keep their babies in the pouch for 2 months around that. Doing a lot of nursing and growing. They get their vision.
Do they
get their
stay
hearing.
in the pouch the whole time?
They're supposed to. And what happened with Alice is we think she fell out or something happened to mom. So she was too young. She was still having to nurse, and I don't know how to nurse opossums, nor am I allowed to do that. I'm not a rehabber of local mammals and things like that. So the rehabber, the good Samaritan that found her in their backyard, took her to a rehabber. That's the right thing to do. Oh my gosh, what a big yawn. She's showing her beautiful teeth. But these guys are marsupials like kangaroos. They're not rodents. They keep their babies in the pouch until they're too big to fit in there, and then they ride on their back.
But they be acting like rodents in the trash.
They do. So they look like a rat. These guys are related to kangaroos.
What are raccoons? Are raccoons?
Raccoons are their own thing. They're related to quadrumundis, which is a Mexican and South American animal. Pretty cool.
So they don't fall into...
And they're not a marsupial at all. They're actually a totally different animal.
Them whiskers.
Oh my goodness.
Whiskers.
She's so curious about you guys.
She's very pretty.
But then they'll ride on the back until they fall off the back, which is usually around 3 or 4 months old. So
And
mom
that's kind of
actually
like-
will take care of them until they just cannot fit anymore.
Oh, okay.
And then they just fall off naturally, and then naturally they're probably old enough to come to be on their own by then. But Alice was not. So, and she's now too imprinted on humans. You can see she's super into hanging out with me. I mean, at least a little bit. So she would not have a fear of humans. So she would probably go up to cats and dogs and humans and get in trouble. So that's why the veterinarian, whoever it was, signed her off to be non-releasable. So then they have to go somewhere.
Aww.
So she got to be an education animal, and she does a lot of
and
programs
now
for us.
she's on live TV.
But don't you want to
So
just like
famous.
smooch her and like smush, and will she let you do all that?
A little bit, but they're not super touchy-feely, like huggy. But she's being really good right now for an
She's being
opossum.
so
Remember,
sweet.
they're wild animals.
So I have a question, and you mentioned
her
like
little eyeball.
you mentioned with her that a good Samaritan, you know, backyard little baby. Most people, I would imagine, either don't do that or they're fearful. So like, how educate me on like if I were to see an animal, like who do we call? Because most people call either 311, right? You call the city or whatever. That's not oftentimes helpful.
Yeah, most of the time you're able to Google animal rehabber in your area. So like here in San Antonio, there's several that can help you out. And opossums are one of the most common animals turned in because they have a lot of babies and a lot of them.
So if you see a baby one, it's okay to call versus just ignoring it.
You can. And again, they cannot carry rabies. So it's okay to, I mean, maybe get like a little towel and scoop them up, put them in a box. If they're, she's going to kiss me in the face. If they are, I hope, if they are, able to climb, if they're able to run away and they're not injured, they're probably old enough to be on their own already. But she was like very helpless. She wasn't able to. She wasn't able to.
She
like,
knows
run
you're talking
off,
about her.
Things like that. She's like, "That's me."
Yeah.
That
She's
wasn't
like,
even
"Yeah,
that long
Mama
ago."
saved me,
Aw,
and then
sweet
I
girl.
came here.
So she was, I mean, obviously very like you can tell like some puppies
Is the
are
tail
like, very-
hard?
So they have a prehensile tail, which is such a cool thing about them. It's like a monkey. You can put the tail. How about that? It's kind of naked, but that's to give them a good grip because if it was hairy, if it, she's checking my blood pressure right now.
She's like, you ain't going nowhere.
Check out my new, check out my new.
She's
bracelet.
a girl for sure. She's
For
like,
this
you can stay
bracelet,
with
you
me.
can now pay.
But that gives them a better
bracelet.
grip to have a naked tail, right? Or hairless tail. If it was covered in hair, it would slip.
So can they really hang?
No, they can't.
That's like a fake thing.
That's like a cartoon thing.
Okay, I wonder.
Just like porcupines shooting their quills, that doesn't happen either.
What?
It's totally a cartoon thing. It's super stupid. I'm always like, really?
I always thought that too. That
Rabbits eating carrots. Rabbits eating carrots.
What?
They're not digging up carrots anyway. I know.
You guys, I'm having a once in a while moment
Yeah.
here.
Blowing your mind.
You're blowing my mind, girl.
No.
But yeah, they do have the prehensile tail. It's just to give them another little hand to kind of. They can also grab things and take them with them, so they can actually, if they find like I don't know some hay or nesting material or leaves, they can gather it up in their tail and take it with them to go have a little thing. But yeah, if you see a baby animal of any kind, the best thing to do is call the rehabber, get advice first. There's nothing illegal about that. Baby birds are another big one that people find, or injured birds. You should never, ever, ever try to feed or water the animal on your own, especially birds. Do not give them water unless the rehabber says, yes, you can give them water. Don't do it because you can actually harm them more. They could, become aspirated on water and things like that. There's a lot of issues. Whoa. She's been awfully graceful today, you guys. She's actually doing really well.
She's being so sweet.
But yeah, so that's the best advice I can give is to just call a professional. If they don't answer the phone, leave a message because they're typically gonna reply. But they're not always able to answer because it's typically a very small operation, a couple people running it, or it's just like one person. But they do care.
I'm just gonna call you now. Amanda!
You can absolutely call me. So that is fine too. People call us all the time for that same thing. I think a lot of people assume that we do that as well.
Probably.
And I just direct them. I just direct them to the next person. Also, a lot of people do adopt their animals out to us, like our bearded dragon that we just got, and the other bearded dragon that we have, and this opossum, right? So a lot of people do call us, and that's perfectly okay. That's what we're here for. We don't charge for any of that. Animal advice is also free as well. So if you guys want to call me anytime, I don't mind at all. All right, Alice. You did a great job.
She did so good. Bye, Miss Alice.
She is so cute. I'm just going to let her goob it down.
This was so cool.
I'm so glad you liked her.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
So not a rat,
she was
not
actually.
a rodent.
They all surprised me.
She was chill.
They all surprised me.
Rodents have very different teeth. That's one thing that makes a rodent is their bucky teeth. So rodents like beavers, they have kind of rabbitish teeth.
You did that really well.
I know.
You did. That was like perfect. She's been doing that for a while.
And we'll whisper.
Right?
All you rodents out there.
I love it.
But But yeah, so rodents have those teeth, and these guys have more like dog-like teeth, or
yeah.
you know, they just have the fangs and like the big teeth. But opossums have more teeth than any other land mammal in the United States.
Wow.
And they show them off when they're scared, but they usually don't attack and bite. They're not very fast. They'd rather get away or play dead.
Reminds me of Beetlejuice.
Exactly.
Oh,
I almost was gonna name
yeah.
her after something with Beetlejuice, but we came up with Allison.
Yeah.
That was a
I love
good
it.
little couple name because we had a girl.
Right?
So
Super cool. So Alice was found just like I think in the yard on the grass, but Cooper was found stuck in a fence. That's what he was
poor
with a couple
baby.
of his siblings. They're not true siblings; they're adopted siblings. But they get along
Still.
great. They're best friends, and they snuggle together at night and whatnot. So they're typically a solitary animal, but I think when they're kept in human care, they kind of like, oh well, there's my friend.
Yeah.
They just kind
Let's
of do whatever
hug,
works.
let's
So
cuddle.
they're adaptable to that, which is pretty cool. One of my
Love
favorite.
it.
But any other questions about the animals? We've gone through all of
No,
them.
I can't wait
we
to take it,
appreciate
But not the rest of them.
Yeah.
No, it's just been
Thank
great.
you. Thank you for having us. I've
welcome.
obviously learned a lot today.
Yes.
I hope I didn't blow your mind too much.
You did.
Well, you guys have been fantastic. I think we lost all of our audience to this, whatever is going on down here. We'll just ignore that until we can delete it. No big
so
deal,
funny.
right? It happens. This is real life.
business.
But thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks
It's
for
not
having
over
us.
yet. We're going to do behind the scenes and look for some photos and maybe videos of the animals. I know the kiddos are excited to see the animals
Yes.
too.
Be fun.
So we're going to tour behind the scenes now, and now that it's super late. But thank you guys for being with us. And if you want to catch us next week, we're back here, same time, same place, Facebook and YouTube on our live stream each and every Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time because we're here in South Texas, right? And if you guys do want to donate and you like what you see and you want to give Alice some food, etc.,
Don't let her
and
go
maybe
hungry.
Francis and
Right.
the roach bunch over there, Cockroaches, right?
Yeah.
You can donate to our zoo via Venmo, Cash App, our Amazon wish list at onceinawild.com, or book your own animal encounter. See how much fun these ladies had just meeting the animals briefly on the show. You can actually meet up to 8 animals per hour for your own animal encounter virtually or in person. We'd love to see you soon. Don't forget to check out Bean and Chisme as well on
Yay.
their social media. Where to go? Well, here's the Facebook information.
There you go.
Website apparently is down
Facebook
for a
is
little
good. You'll
bit, but
find us
it'll be back.
everywhere.
So you can find all their social media that way.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for having
Fantastic.
us.
Let's close with our song,
Let's
you
go.
guys, as usual.
We are nothing close to ordinary, but we love to be your friend. Hold our hands and let's have fun together, singing as loud as you can. Everybody singing once in a while. Be together once in a while. I wanna hear you say once in a while. And that's the fun for me and you.
Adios, amigos. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place on Facebook and YouTube. That's where it is. Subscribe and follow. Bye.
Bye.
Where it is. There it is. Bye.